Guys, let's get 1000 likes and I will immediately release a new part. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Chapter 1-1. Summer is his mother's legacy necklace. The father asked his son to wear it when he had problems that he can't solve, or when he feels some serious problems that he can't solve. Changes in your body. The boy was curious to know who his mother was, but it was only a matter of time. A dream that illuminates the past. The guy woke up in bed and abruptly took a sitting position. While in a cold sweat, looking down at his hand, he immediately had a question. What's wrong with it? Happened. The surprised voice of a nurse can be heard nearby. The girl is surprised that the patient has already woke up. The guy jumps up and down in fright. Blood is pouring out of his nose, and he's not moving. She blushes. This also frightens the nurse, who is in the hospital for a few seconds. However, when the hero tries to say something with a stutter, she interrupts him, looming over him menacingly, demanding that he stop shouting like that, because he'd scared the shit out of her. Death by screaming. The brunette quickly recovers, admitting that he was confused. I thought I'd run into a ghost. The nurse asks him to lie down because he was very tired. He's wounded, and it's a miracle that he's awake. Hearing this, the young man decides all the same. Find out what happened to him. A representative of the fair sex is surprised, specifying, remembers, whether he is at least something, but not seeing in the eyes of the interlocutor, and a hint of understanding. She explains that he saved a little girl and was almost hit by a car. Then the hero remembers what happened. Something like that. He decides to ask if the baby is okay. Another woman enters the room. A woman who reports that her daughter is fine. A gorgeous girl in a blouse and formal skirt along with flowers comes to the guy's bed. He rubs his eyes. His nose is bleeding again. It's hard for him to believe what's happening. Mother, the doctor, noticing the patient's condition, clarifies that something is wrong. He shakes his head negatively, with his head, assuming that this is the result of an accident, because of which he constantly sees some kind of visions. The beauty admits that she is very grateful to him for saving his daughter. It's ready. Pay him enough money to compensate him, so he doesn't need to make excuses to get out of it. Blackmail her. These words strain the patient, so he rushes to clarify the situation, not to worry. Does she want to tell him that he is lying to her to ask her for money? The parent decides to go to a business question, asking if 1 million is enough. The brunette is a little shocked by her words. The girl sits down on a chair, putting her feet on her feet, and, not hearing an answer from the dumbfounded interlocutor, he raises the stakes to 2 million without understanding the issue at all. The guy accepts, sitting up, throwing the sheet away and saying that that wasn't why he saved her, so he didn't have to. I need her money. The nurse immediately runs up to the patient, claiming that he cannot yet get out of bed because you haven't recovered. For a rich woman, this sounds like a challenge, so she raises the bet to $5 million when the guy comes to the door. The same via. He says he doesn't want anything from her, because a girl's life can't be measured with money. The woman falls into a stupor. She wants to say a few affectionate words to the patient, but he leaves the room, slamming the door behind him. Moving confidently down the corridor, he admits that, I didn't know that there were still such parents in the world. Then he runs into a little girl of about 8 in the hallway. She asks if he is the right person, the big brother who saved her. From the look in the adult's eyes, she knew she'd hit the nail on the head. So with a happy smile, she thanked him. The hero also stressed that he did not at all. He wishes he hadn't saved her. The nurse who saw this picture had a happy expression on her face. Smile. Chapter 1-2. Approaching the nurse, the hero, calling her cute, wanted to ask her for one favor. The girl was very embarrassed, but still managed to agree to listen to him. It turned out that the guy didn't have enough money to get home, so he decided to borrow a few dollars from her. The nurse is amazed at this development. She thought the patient was somehow rich and doesn't care about the money because he just gave up $5 million. It came as a shock that he was just an ordinary poor student. The representative of the fair sex without hesitation took out her wallet and handed over a bill to the other person. He thanked her and introduced himself, assuring her that he would find a way to repay her. My name is Zietian. The nurse introduced herself in response, emphasizing that he could keep the money for himself. Her name is Bai. The guy started to leave, noticing that it was time for him to go, but he would definitely find a way. Return the money. The girl even wondered what kind of person this really was. Small. The girl waved goodbye to him. Some time passes, and the hero gets to your apartment. After entering the house, Zietian notified all the residents that he had come, but received no response. However, he quickly realized that no one was home right now. At that moment, the guy remembered the words. His father's story that when he has a crisis that cannot be resolved, or he feels a major change in his body, then he should wear something. He was very tired until he had to get home, so when he went into his room, he opened the bottom drawer where he kept the book, a velvet box. Taking out the necklace from the box, Xia Tian noticed that he was currently seriously injured and had some sort of injury. I got the ability to see, so this should be a clue. By contacting to my father, the guy said that today he would wear it. The hero did it in the next instant, and then he felt something unusual. Some unknown force opened a portal behind him. Where did Xia Tian fall into? Beautiful blonde takes a hot shower. At this time, the dark-haired man opens his eyes, grabbing at the head. He realizes that he has fallen asleep, and then he grabs the artifact, noticing that the glow on the screen is still visible. The suspension is gone. The hero tries to understand what is happening to her. Then he decides to remove the bandages, no longer feeling pain. All of his wounds are gone, so he doesn't need bandages anymore. Xia Tian, I noticed that I started shedding my skin. It immediately occurred to him that it was because of the pendant. Then the door handle twitches and the bathroom door opens, blonde covering her body with a towel. He leaves the bathroom with a satisfied expression on his face. The next thing I know, she's frozen in place. Her mouth falls open involuntarily in shock because she's not sure what to do. Catches the hero putting on a t-shirt. The latter is also amazed at this development of events. They exchange glances for a few moments, then the beauty grabs her towels to hide your personal zones from a stranger while simultaneously asking who they are and what. Here it does. Xia Tian says he's a teddy bear. At this point, another person runs into the room. One girl who's trying to figure out what's going on here. Chapter 1-3. On the hero's cheek there was a clear mark from someone's palm. Confused blonde calls him a pervert, and her friend calms her down by introducing a guy who is her cousin. She also emphasizes that she has already taught him a lesson for her. A relative decides to find out where the guy is. I've been here for the last 2 days because he wasn't anywhere, and his phone was turned off. Hearing this, Xia Tian asks again, startled, asking what day it is. The interviewee replies that she has already the 16th day. Noticing the unusual behavior of the hero, she decides to find out what happened. The brunette finally realizes that he's been unconscious for 2 whole days. The girl is hard. She sighs, emphasizing that he was gone for 2 days, and as soon as they met, he insulted her friend. The guy claims he's innocent because it was covered up tight and he didn't do anything. So, the blonde mentally admits that she really was covered up tight, so she didn't. Understands how he learned something. She remembers that when they ran into each other, the first thing he said was, "Young man," was the word Miss Ka. After that, the blonde noticed out loud that her girlfriends are a strange child. This caused confusion in the latter and a dumb question. Xia Tian is the same. Already left the apartment. It was a bright summer day outside. The hero began to improve his body. He hopped up on the horizontal bar and began to work pull-ups. At this moment, a middle-aged man is watching the brunette's training sessions. The latter feels that after the treatment of the necklace, his body has become much lighter, and that's all. It passes without effort. The man decides to approach Xia Tian. He notes that his the training is very good, so he assumes that he used to be a soldier. The guy gives a negative answer, adding that he is only 19 years old. Then the stranger clarifies, whether that guy has any interest in sparring with him. The hero believes that this is not necessary, because he is already an elderly person. The man, realizing that the kid is afraid to injure him, decides to demonstrate his strength and skills. He walks over to a heavy stone barrel and kicks it into a tree, which is not covered with water. It is located 10 meters away from it. After the demonstration, the elderly man got exactly the right one. The result I wanted. The boy's jaw met the ground, and his eyes widened. Man invites the other person to take a step forward. Xia Tian understands that it is most likely legendary. Master of martial arts. He just can't pass up this opportunity. Putting your hands together as a sign of respect, he asks the elder to enlighten him. The other person likes the behavior. The other person, because there is no arrogance or impulsiveness in him, which is actually rare. The hero asks for forgiveness in advance, and then attacks the man. He moves away from the blow. Xia Tian then grabs the guy's arm with both hands. But Xia Tian doesn't give the experienced guy a chance. The opponent has a chance for a quick and easy victory. With a sharp jump, he breaks the distance, glad that his body felt lighter. The older one takes a fighting stance, praising the skills, the partner and demanding to repeat. A spark flashes in the boy's eyes. He sees a dozen moves of his opponent, realizing that can see the trajectory of its attack. Zietian takes off, thinking that he has a lot of money, an opportunity to win. An old man with a lot of experience blocks the guy's kick, though. Inwardly, he doesn't understand how he suddenly found his flaw. Chapter 1-4. Sparring between the hero and an experienced master continues. The older one feels the pressure on him. He understands perfectly well that this child did not practice martial arts, but every blow, it is aimed at its weak points. Realizing that at this rate, defeat is not far off, the man decides to take a breather, stopping the fight. While there is an opportunity, he will continue his work. Last name, and asks for the last name of the opponent, calling the latter a younger brother. Surname, Menfan. Zietian greets her partner by introducing herself with her first name. A man becomes interested in how his younger brother broke his tai chi. The same assures that he was just lucky, and that he did it accidentally. The man notes that the interlocutor definitely has a talent, so if he ever has the opportunity to visit the villa in the Green Forest, then he can come in to see him. The boy and the old man exchange pleasantries and say goodbye. Zietian is still a high school student, but he doesn't have much time left to study before the entrance exam. The college exam is still 12 days away, and before that, he still has to run the last sprint. With my hands behind the back of my head, the hero moves towards his class through the school corridors. Here it is, runs into a girl. Her name is Wenjing. She averts her gaze, embarrassed by the sight of him. The guy's appearance. She's glad he showed up at school, because he's been gone for a few days, and she's happy to see him. I thought something had happened to him. Zietian takes his seat, not quite sure what's wrong with him. It could have happened. He suggests that he might have committed suicide because I left him. A representative of the fair sex mentally shudders, because she is actually. Dile didn't want to leave him. The problem was that the guy was too poor. At this point, another person enters the classroom. This is a young guy with smooth hair. Green hair. He brought Wenjing French tomorrow. The girl thanks him for this. Taking food. The guy's name is Shea-kun. You can immediately see that this product is very expensive. That's it. Shea-kun pays attention to the hero. He's a little startled by its appearance because he thought that it was the same person. I fell into the trap of love and committed suicide. Wenjing asks her boyfriend to stop it. Last, he also leans over Zietian, claiming that he's just a nerd who can't even hold on his girlfriend, so there's no benefit to his good studies. The hero is calmly engaged, doing their own thing, ignoring the obvious provocateur. At this point, a small one intervenes in the situation. A girl with long red hair pulled into two ponytails behind her back. The character is reminded that Zhu Shaekong is from a different class, so he is not eligible. Come to her class to rampage if he still wants to live. Shaekong claims that they do not interfere with each other, so he advises her to study. Do your own thing. The girl has a nickname Hot Pepper. The latter emphasizes that it is simply very curious by nature. At this moment, Zietian closes the textbook, wanting to stop third-party interference because he didn't ask to stand up for himself. The same asserts that he doesn't have to thank her. The girl declares that although she looks down on such nerds like him, but he's in her class, so his sister will cover for him. The hero also notices that that's not the point at all. It turns out that the interlocutor stepped on his foot. Chapter 1-5. Hot Pepper gets angry because she just stood up for him and he dares to do this. Tell her. Zietian asks the other party not to get so close because her saliva is splattering at him. This pisses the girl off. It awakens the desire to beat up the guy. Two friends. They ask Sister Fire to let them take care of this guy. At this point, the class is entered by a teacher who lets everyone know that it's time to start a class and that they will spend the day there. Mock exams. Hot Pepper notes that Zietian only needs to wait before leaving. After all, someone will take care of him soon. Three girls approach the classroom exit. The teacher begins to lose patience because he does not understand where they all gathered during class. Hot Pepper ignores him, giving an order to his men. Subordinates. Those should return and pass the exam, but not take its last place. 2. The girls return to their seats, and the red-haired person leaves the classroom in an angry tone. The teacher's view. Zietian exhales heavily. The man starts handing out task sheets. Starting to read the questions, the hero is surprised to realize that he does not need to calculate at all, because the answers automatically pop up in his head. After a few minutes, Zietian stands up and hands her work to the teacher. He decides, find out if the student has checked the answers and how it happened that they have already finished. Man notes that if the guy doesn't know the answers, you shouldn't guess at random because the exam is coming up and teachers have high hopes for it. The hero claims that he answered everything. The questions are serious, so he clarifies if he can continue studying the following. The item. At this time, Hot Pepper is standing on the street, resting his back against a tree. To her, two friends come running. The red-haired bully decides to find out what's wrong with Xia Tian and why he got out faster than them. The girls do not know the answer, only assuming that he also filled out the answers at random and then passed. At this point, a group of guys led by Shae-kun approaches the hero. Friends decide to find out from Sisters of Fire whether they will help him. The latter decides that the classmate needs a little suffer before they leave. Shae-kun begins to provoke Xia Tian by saying that he has heard that he never got to touch Wenny, even though it feels so good. The hero emphasizes that the girl, it doesn't have anything to do with him anymore, so the two of them can do whatever they want, and he can't. There is no need to talk about it. At the same time, he keeps a straight face. Chief Bully claims that the interlocutor does not deserve to fight with him for women, because already lost. Shae-kun claims that he hates it the most when someone thinks about his toys, so today it will give him an unforgettable experience. Forward come his comrades, starting with Need Your Knuckles. Xia Tian takes a careful look at them, starting calculate your actions in advance while evaluating the strength of your opponents. In a few minutes, for a few moments, he copies the style of the master with whom he fought during the day. First guy gets a powerful uppercut to the jaw, going for a knockout. Hot Pepper goes into shock from this picture, but most of all, Shae-kun is amazed, who was clearly not ready for such resistance. Sides of Botany. Chapter 1-6. Seeing how one of the friends, having received a blow, was sent to the shoulder blades, the trio quickly moves away from shock. They are more angry, and the healthiest of them says that Xia Tian had no right hit one of them. Realizing that the opponent's warlike spirit is still not broken, the hero, he takes off from his seat. Moving at an incredible speed, in a few movements, he killed two guys, causing them to lose consciousness. Here other students go out into the yard. The girl is amazed that someone dared to hit people. Zhu Shae-kun, a friend tells me that the guy's name is Xia Tian, and he was the best student of his class. Of the class, Hot Pepper's friends are also amazed. One of the girls thinks that she doesn't care. I imagined it, because a nerd can't fight that well. Another person notices that Hazian, they are notoriously ruthless, and he took care of them so quickly. The girl with the red hair, she sees this as an opportunity, because she has always had a dream to become a heroine, and if she can learn a few tricks from him, then her dream will come true. The last one standing on Naga the bully nervously asks what he is trying to do. The hero walks up to Shae-kun, puts his hand on his shoulder and warns him to be careful with diarrhea when he gets back. The guy turns around with fear at the departing interlocutor. He just doesn't know what he's going to do. Xia Tian warns the badass that he is not the one whom he can afford to offend, so it is better not to catch his eye in the future, or he won't just let him go. The hero is about to leave, but he hears something behind him. A familiar voice. Someone calls his name, asking him to wait. This is a Hot Pepper that. She pounces on the guy from behind, wanting to hug him. The same one leaves with a quick and confident movement. Step aside, starting to be wary of this person. Deciding not to jump to conclusions, Xia Tian clarifies what she wants. The girl asks to teach her martial arts. The guy abruptly recoils from the interlocutor, stating that he does not know any combat weapons. The arts. Then the girl digs into his arm, starting to scream that she is being raped. Dark hair, perplexed by this behavior because she herself clung to him. Hot Pepper claims that I saw him use real martial arts when he knocked those guys down, so he shouldn't lie. Xia Tian mentally notes that he just stole Mr. Fang's techniques by ear. He repeats to his friends that he doesn't know any martial arts. One guy from the crowd, the spectator, marvels at Xia Tian, thinking that he is simply magnificent because he is so beautiful. First he beat up Zhu Shae-kun's thugs, and now he's teasing Fire Pepper. At this time, a subordinate comes to Mr. Fan, starting a report. He puts out information on Xia Tian, a man, 19 years old. His mother disappeared right after he was born. His father died unexpectedly when he was 14. He is currently in high school, Yonghai High School, with excellent academic performance. Half a month ago, he saved the daughter of Jun Ru, the chairman. The Zheng family is from Shanghai and left the hospital without asking for payment. Now he lives with a cousin and earns money as a part-time employee. The master takes a mug of hot tea asking if there is anything about his parents. The subordinate reports that it couldn't find anything, because everything is encrypted. His father has an A-level cipher and his mother has an S-level cipher. Permissions are not sufficient. There's a sparkle in a man's eyes when he hears about encrypted information. Chapter 1-7. Fan decides to check if there is anything new about Quicksand. The interlocutor notices that Quicksand, the Sands have noticed him too, but it doesn't look like they want to kill him, and it's like they want what he has. There is. The master notes that the city of Zhonghai has not been calm lately, and he has to leave. So he leaves it up to his guys to protect him and kill those who try harm him. The subordinate reports that Zietian is very sensitive to them, which is why he feels them, even if they try to watch him. The fan requires that in this case they were protecting him from a distance, and if Quicksand took any action, they should report back to him, because apart from Quicksand, no one would dare break into his territory. Events are transferred to the #1 assassin group of Zhonghai City. The young man asks when the Lord is going to strike. The latter notices that now is not the time, but when they find the secret scrolls, they can strike. Subordinate accepts the leader's order. The man in the black robe warns that they are not the only ones who wants to get scrolls, so they should keep an eye on the other guys too, so as not to give those get a scroll. At this time, on Zhonghai Market Street, Hot Pepper continues stalking the hero, wanting to know when he will teach her martial arts. Zietian states that he is not a master, but knows only a few techniques that he will pass on to his future wife. My wife and children. Chapter 1-7. Hearing the words about marriage, the girl with red hair was not at a loss and suggested the owner should take it. Zietian reacted very coldly, saying that he didn't understand what she was saying, but he doesn't want to take a foster child. The other woman hastened to explain what she meant, so that the guy would marry her and pass on his martial arts, finally realizing what it's all about. Finally, the hero broke out in a cold sweat, after which he quickly recovered, noting that he did not want to marry a girl who has no face or body. Hot Pepper carefully examined her own. However, when she noticed that the other person was trying to escape, she caught up with him, saying that the teacher did not know what to do. You need to have such high expectations, but you should just get used to it. Zietian, he shook his head, saying it wouldn't happen. Then the girl suddenly, he stops, grabs the guy by the scruff of the neck, and tells him they're selling a scratch lottery, so she wants to go and give it a try. The hero does not quite understand her logic, because her family rich, so why buy lottery tickets? Hot Pepper explains that this is a test of luck, and the thrill of it, not just trying to make money. The girl runs up to the lottery stall and asks for a few scratch lotteries from the seller. He claims that they are just spending their money, and that a small child knows about lotteries. Hot Pepper to be angry, because they talk to her without respect and to some extent insult. Then the hero steps forward, asking her friend to focus on the lottery. After that, Thick men still give out a few tickets. He takes out one ticket and shows it to me. 50 yuan fell out. Behind him, Zietian puts her hand on the pages, then scans them with her abilities, and he pulls out a ticket with 800 yuan in it. The girl and the man are amazed at this development. The hero asks to cash out 700 yuan and give other tickets for the remaining ones. Hot Pepper, she tries to change his mind, saying that she has heard that if you win once, your luck runs out, so it should stop now. The man hands the new tickets to the guy, noting that lottery ticket sellers love customers like him who send in their winnings. Get your money back. The hero mentally notes that this is not a cause for concern when he uses her discerning eyes. After a few passes, the guy kept going over and over again. Draws huge amounts of money from roulette. A girl, a salesman, and a mute witness who decided also try their luck fall into a stupor from what is happening. Chapter 1-8. The girl says that the teacher is just super because he just won several lotteries. More than $5,000. She'll just teach her a couple of similar tricks. The hero is the same. He notices that he used to understand her desire to learn martial arts, but now the craving for he doesn't understand such things. Representatives of the fair sex notes that she is still poor wants to learn martial arts. After that, the hero calls his cousin, saying that he has the phone broke down recently, and that he just bought a new one. Then he hears that he needs to go somewhere, a night to go, after which he agrees, catching a taxi and setting off on the road. Hot Pepper is in a hurry to find out where the master is going. The latter answers he has important things to do, so she doesn't have to go after him. Having received no clear answer, the girl is left alone in the kitchen. On the street, they watch the taxi leaving. The guy reaches the antique street. It turns out, it's his cousin's birthday, and she asked him to pretend to be her boyfriend. Moving on, On the street, he sighs heavily, realizing that she's really thinking about it. Hiro admits to himself that it's his fault that he forgot about her birthday, so he can't refuse, so you'll have to find a present for her first. Here, accompanied by several, an old man passes the guards. Someone is calling to make room for Master Zhu, who is the master of the treasure hunt here. Everyone greets the respected person, and he also responds politely to their words. At this time, Zia Tian notes that all the things here look so good, but his eyes are capable of determine what is real and what is fake. Then his gaze catches on a small object that makes him wonder if he can't see it. An unusual glow is emitted. The guy takes off, almost knocking the master off his feet. Security already wants to teach the brat a lesson, but the respected man stops them. The hero ignores it. They ask the seller how much this piece of jade was worth. The full seller claims to see that his heart is sincere, so he is willing to give it to him. For 8,000, Zietian claims that 8,000 is too much because he is only a child, an ordinary student, and he doesn't have that much money. Master, watching this picture, assumes that this impolite child really has poor eyesight, so she can't see well. She's going to come to his rescue when he has to pay. Here the seller notices that Master Zhu is watching them. The man is afraid that he will come and expose him. Hero, he bends over the ear of the other person, offering a price of 200, saying that he knows what it is. Fake. The seller decides to get out of the situation, saying that the younger brother has a really sharp eye, but this jade doesn't sell for less than 500. Zietian, he notices that in this case, he will take a few more worthless stones and the job is done. The seller agrees, starting to pack the goods for the buyer in a special bag. When the purchase is completed, the master approaches the hero, declares that he is a good bargain and knows how to use your words. The seller regrets that the master still believes in this. The old man notes that this piece of jade is only worth 20 or a maximum of 50, but only a small amount of gold is used. An inexperienced, clever guy will pay 500 for it. Zietian reports that this is not the case at all. The next moment, he lets go of the jade, which shatters on the asphalt. This caused surprise on the master's face. Chapter 1-9. Master Zhu finally understands that the guy knew it was a fake. The hero says that he has good eyesight. After that, he puts into the bag the stone that he wanted to put on the map. Actually buy it. This is a relic made from the bones of a deceased Buddhist. He had heard of her only in books, and I never thought I'd be able to see her. At this moment, the old man mentally emphasizes that all the assets of his Zhu family are in the hands of his nephew Zhu King, and he's been trying to hire talented people to get back what was his for a long time. He assumes that this boy is one of those rare talents, so he asks her to wait just a moment. Master Zhu suggests that there should be a small competition between them. Zietian requires a little explain the point. Passers-by start to think the young guy is so ignorant that he doesn't even know what Master Zhu is doing, because if the latter wants to compete, then it's a question of antique appraisals. An elderly man explains that he is a connoisseur of antique streets. Zietian immediately agrees, putting forward its own conditions. If he loses, he will give the man his life, and if he loses, he will buy him something that the guy has his eye on. This makes the master laugh. After all, he does not understand what he will do with his life, but in a few moments he will. It becomes serious by adjusting the conditions. If the hero loses, he will start serving him with. That moment, the guy immediately agrees to these terms. A table is placed in the center of the street. Some of the witnesses are amazed at the courage of the guy who decided to compete with Master Zhu in treasure assessment. The competition conditions are very simple. There are a lot of antiques on the table, and all 5 of them are real. If the hero finds 3 of these, then wins. The hero says that he will accept his loss if he makes at least 1 mistake. The man is a little surprised by the confidence of the interlocutor in his abilities, but still agrees to this. Witnesses consider the guy a real madman. Zietian picks up a small box and calls her the real one. Master Zhu tells us what it is. A toilet box used by Empress Cixi during the Qing dynasty. Hero decides to check if he can break the fake one time to prove his point. The man says that everything is fine because he can afford to pay for all this. Here, the guy smashes a porcelain vase, knocking it off the table. Those present think that he is everything. I've already ruined it because it looks real. The dark-haired man picks up one of the shards of glass from the asphalt, where the print is located. Everyone immediately understands that this is a company seal, and this vase was made by the owner. Made by Car. Master Zhu becomes curious as to how the guy knew that the seal was inside the vase. Hero, it looks like everything to my eyes. Zietian starts smashing the fakes on the table. Chapter 1-10. Then the guy gets to the bracelet. He immediately knows that this is a real artifact, so he informs you that he will keep it for himself. The man is tense because he put the bracelet there to confuse him, so it's not clear to him how the guy did it. The hero bites his finger until it bleeds. After that, a few drops fall on the beads of the bracelet, which begins to glow. Witnesses, they know it's blood jade. Many people immediately start bidding for such a thing. Someone is ready, paying 2 million for it, but Xia Tian isn't interested, so he apologizes, adding that the bracelet is not for sale. The hero wins this competition, but when he is about to leave the area and when he returns home, he is stopped by an old man. He says he doesn't know if he considers him, Zhu Huan, a friend. The guy mentally notes that with his new abilities in front of him, a whole new world opens up. He wants to learn the secrets of his parents, but before that, I have to do something important. Xia Tian replies that he is pleased to be Master Zhu's friend. The guy needs to expand his connections and make a name for himself. The interviewee decides to ask for the name of his friend. My younger brother. The hero introduces himself by his own name. Suddenly, a car pulls up next to them. Several people get out of it. One of them is a student. She walks up to the guy, determined to find out if he's Xia Tian. He has a pierced nose and ears as well. But I have a tattoo under my left eye. A few minutes ago in Jianghai City Hospital alone, a young man puffs up on the toilet, his stomach twisted violently. His father, apparently, decides to find out what the results of Director Li's survey are. The interviewee replies that it is not possible to examine a patient who cannot hold out for even half a minute. By dragging him into the exam room, the doctor emphasizes that they passed a stool test to rule out drugs. At this point, one of the guards reports that they just asked the young master about the conflict that they have. It happened today with a student named Xia Tian outside the school. He also said to watch out. Diarrhea. The owner assumes that it was the boy, so he decides to find out if it was sent. Find someone already. The subordinate reports that San went there with his 2 friends. People to bring him here. Currently, the same son is saying that Xia Tian should go with him. The hero does not understand why he should go with him, and who he is in general. The master warns that this is Zhu Xiaohua's personal security guard, and that San is very strong, so why? An elderly man is wondering how he got into trouble with him. San says he'll let you go. The old man is off the hook because he is Mr. Zhu's own uncle, and everything will be fine if he won't interfere. The hero is a little surprised that these 2 turned out to be relatives. Chapter 1-11. The master harnesses his younger friend, saying that San will not throw him while he is here. The elderly man's guards step forward. A cruel smile appears on Sun's face. Behind, with a few punches, he knocks out all his opponents. Master Zhu declares that Tom will not. One should think that he can do anything just because Zhu Xiaohua supports it. San ignores the old man, ordering his subordinates to take the boy. 2 people in suits approach Xia Tian closely. He puts his hands on their shoulders, and then with a movement, he pushes it away from him. Master San falls into a stupor for a few moments. The brunette also asks if he wants to. The caller still pick it up. Mentally, he notes that it is better to intimidate this person, because he looks strong. San approaches the hero, saying that he is a good fighter, but still too much young. The man decides to find out what kind of relationship the guy has with Zhang Chufeng. The hero doesn't understand. What kind of nonsense is this? He clearly provokes the interlocutor, offering him to approach if he wants fight. In fact, Xia Tian would like to have a friendly relationship with this person in order to learn some skills from him. San's gaze becomes more fierce, and his expression becomes more serious. A smile appears. He warns that the guy should not accuse him of being ruthless later. The hero prepares for battle, because there is no choice, but he is not sure whether he can win or not. A group of masked men appears behind Sun. They are recognized by the legendary bodyguard San, which he had heard so much about. The man turns around, realizing that there are quicksand here. Pesky, the leader of the Trinity, claims that when he found out who they are, he should leave because they have an important matter for this boy named Xia Tian. San notes that the owner ordered him to pick up this boy, so he has to get him back, and he won't let him do it just like that. The bodyguard wants to bargain. The trio surround him, and their leader excuses him, adding that this is a very difficult situation. Impossible, because this guy is the one that the group leader needs to get something from. Sen mentally understands that they are Quicksand, an organization of assassins, so even if he wins the fight, for now, it will be a constant grudge between him and them. He can't insult them, so he decides. Given today, San approaches his subordinates, who are defeated by the hero, and calls them to get up with the help of a kick to the back. Xia Tian tries to understand what's going on. He is aware that, for some reason, Yeonsen decided not to contact these guys, but it's not clear to him why they came to him. To the rescue, the guy decides to find out who they are. The group leader tells them they just need something. What is from him? Namely, they want the hero to give them the relic that his father left him. Xia Tian's eyes widen in disbelief. Chapter 1:12. It turns out that there is some kind of scroll in his father's things. Members of Quicksand gives him 7 days to find it and give it to them, or he shouldn't accuse them of cruelty. The hero notes that they don't. He remembers that his father left him a scroll of some sort, so it's not clear to him how he can find it. The interviewee notes that this has nothing to do with them, so the guy either find it or die hundreds of times. Xia Tian is trying to find out more information about this, a mysterious scroll, because he doesn't know where to find it. Then the master's hand falls on the hero's shoulder, who decides to find out what's going on and what they want from him. The guy turns to me, to an elderly person, saying that everything is fine, and these people could take him for someone else. Xia Tian mentally decides to deal with today since he has 7 days, so he would return to the old house tomorrow and search for the scroll all day. Evening comes. A lot of guests gathered in the beautiful multi-story building. All of them congratulate. Happy birthday to the hero's relative. A handsome man steps forward. He makes you stand out from the crowd. He has a bouquet of blue roses in his hands, and he has very attractive facial features. It asks for, let the birthday girl give him her gift. One of the guests recognizes the young man. He is one of the 4 sons of the Wang family in Shanghai City, Wang Nianlin. A lot of guys go to the other side, realizing that they cannot compete with him, and someone even suggests that the blonde he wants to ask Yi Kingsu out on a date. The girl curses inwardly, because Xia Tian has not yet. He showed up, but the bastard was right there. A beautiful girl with red hair comes out ahead of the handsome man. Her hair and expensive dress accentuated her exquisite figure. She apologizes for late arrival. The beauty hands the hero's relative a box, asking her to look at her gift. Birthday girl opens a beautiful box containing valuable antiques. Representative. The fairer sex does not believe that this gift is really meant for her. Guests begin whisper to each other, assuming that no one today can surpass this gift. The blonde one mentally notes that he did not expect to give up his place to a woman. But it does not matter because women are not competitors for him, so he just has to outshine all men. He gets down on one knee in front of the girl. In his bouquet there is a ring and a diamond. He asks on this special day to accept his love for her and become his girlfriend. This confuses the birthday girl. She wasn't prepared for such a drastic action from the outside. The blonde one. All the girls are amazed at the romance of the moment and ask to accept this offer. The blonde one. He grins nastily, mentally emphasizing that it's all about the atmosphere, and it's always bad for her. It turned out to confuse everyone, so as long as she takes the flowers, he wins. At this time then a hero appears. He apologizes to Kingsu for being late. She rejoices at the appearance of the guy, because he literally saved her from a terrible situation. It's fast. She runs up to him, grabs his arm, and introduces him to her boyfriend Xia Tian. The blonde one runs through the young man's appearance. Tom's wearing a cheap shirt and his shoes are dirty. They indicate that he doesn't even have a car. The blonde approaches the couple, noting that her boyfriend came to the party empty-handed. The girl stands up for him, saying that she is happy just because he is here. Xia Tian is the same. He intervenes in this argument, saying that others should not think that he came here without a reason. A gift? He pulls a blood necklace out of his pocket, handing it to his cousin. The last one right away recognizes this artifact as a blood jade stone, realizing that this is a priceless treasure. The girl rushes to find out where it came from. Xia Tian turns her head to the blonde, stating that this is not some cheap nonsense that you can buy in the store. Kingsu leans against the wall to the guy, asking in a whisper if he did something illegal to take the money for the purchase. Such a thing. The hero asks his cousin not to spoil the mood. After that, Xia Tian reports that he hasn't finished with the gifts yet. He suggests birthday girls go to the door. They approach the doors together, after which the hero offers the girl to open them and see for yourself. She has a lot of questions because there should be a simple hall behind the door. But seeing the confident look in the guy's eyes, she decides to trust him. Opening the door, from the ceiling begin falling rose petals. Chapter 1:13. The girls congratulate several new guests, and together with the falling rose petals, it looks very romantic. The hero admits that he allowed them to settle here because there was no room at home, but that wasn't all. He offers the birthday girl to look out on the street where the fireworks started. Kingsu says it's all very beautiful. She even begins to dream that he will he was her real boyfriend, but then she quickly gives herself a mental slap in the face because Zia Tian is her cousin. In fact, it was all arranged thanks to brother Zhu. The hero didn't expect it, that he would do so much. At this point, the blonde starts shaking with annoyance because all his friends are waiting for him. Plans were ruined by one person who outshone everyone else with his gifts. After a while, a car pulls up to the building. The hero, along with his cousin, gets into it. Behind, Master Zhu is at the helm. The girl quickly guesses that it was Master Zhu who helped her. To a relative, she admits that she was really shocked when he took out this expensive one. Blood Jade. The old man hurries to explain that the blood jade really belongs to his brother. Zia Tianyu, after all, had bought it from an antique shop using his own skills. The girl is trying to figure out when Zia Tian knows how to evaluate treasures. The hero claims that he was just lucky. A van passes in the next lane. The hero feels the presence of his mother and the girl in it, so he asks brother Zhu to follow that van. The old man doesn't know what's going on, but once little brother said so something must be wrong. He turns the car around. The birthday girl decides. Ask them what happened. Zia Tian explains that after they catch up with the car, they should go to a safe place, call the police anonymously, and say that Zheng Ru and her daughter were stolen. These words cause shock to everyone present. The mother and her child, accompanied by several bandits, go to the warehouse. When they arrive, up to a certain point, one of the kidnappers pushes the woman, causing the ladder to fall. She quickly takes a sitting position, covering the child with herself and declaring that she knows who they are. Clients are people who want to take over her share in the company. The leader notices that if she knows this, then she should shut up, because they need to make a small movie with her so that brother B can. He had leverage over her. At the same time, the bandit takes the phone out of his pocket. The baby is being dragged away. From my mother, the child cries, calling its parent. A woman tries to approach her daughter, telling them not to touch her. She is being held by another kidnapper. There are tears in the woman's eyes, and she's begging for someone to save them. At this moment, under the light of the full moon, a man enters the warehouse. Hero, he advises all criminals to turn themselves in, because the police will be here soon. The gang leader thinks some asshole just wants to die. Zia Tian breaks down. Bandits. The hero deals with them with quick and accurate blows. Their leader declares that I haven't finished yet. He realizes that the mission has already failed, so he pulls out his gun, going to finish off the target. The loud sound of a gunshot echoes through the room. Woman's eyes. They are rounded, but the bullet does not reach either her or her daughter because Zia covers them with her body. Time. The girl's loud scream echoed through the area. The bullet hit the hero in the stomach. The bandit also stated that this is entirely the guy's fault, because no one called him to become a hero. He passes by. Zia Tian fell to the floor, noticing that the pair would return to where they left off. In the moment the guy gets to his feet and attacks the bandit from behind. A quick and accurate punch. He knocks the gun out of the bully's hands, then pushes it in the back, knocking it down, forcing it to fall. Tears welled up in the woman's eyes. She doesn't believe in miracles happening right in front of her eyes. In that moment, the hero starts coughing up blood, clutching at the gunshot wound in his stomach. Zia Tian limps towards the exit, asking the mother and daughter to follow him. The woman is the same. He thinks he needs to call an ambulance because he was shot. The hero for some reason does not. He can go to the hospital, so he suggests that we go to him home because that one is nearby. After a while, the trio gets home. The woman takes out a first aid kit and begins dressing the wound. She still suggests that the guy go to the hospital because it is difficult to stop the bleeding. Zia Tian also feels that his body has become somewhat different, so if he goes to the hospital, then they can be treated like a lab rat. The hero is immersed in himself, not noticing environment. At this time, the woman notices that something glows in the guy's pocket. She gets it. Yellowstone, trying to understand what it is, but the precious thing gets very hot. It's fast, so she lets go abruptly, feeling hot. A pebble falls on the hero's wound. It gets more intense, and when it's all over, the girl unwraps the bandages to make sure that it's all over. Check the guy's wound, but there's nothing there. She finds it hard to believe her eyes. At this point the girl enters the room, determined to find out about her older brother's condition. The mother informs her child that the older brother is fine, but he needs to be given time to recover. Rest. Zia Tian wakes up after a while. He feels a strange rush in his body. Forces. He immediately notices that in the room, in addition to him, there is a rescued mother and daughter. He understands that the last memories are not a dream, but the representatives of the fair sex is sleeping. The dark-haired man also notices that his wound is gone, and in the place where it should be. It must have been a strange yellow pebble. The hero picks it up, assuming that it was this thing that cured him. He starts to get dressed. A lot has happened recently. What used to be his normal life has completely changed. First the necklace, then Master Tai Chi in ancient antiques. As Zietian finishes dressing, realizing that there's no one behind him anymore, the doorbell rings. Someone starts knocking. He opens the door. Quicksand had descended on him. It turns out, it's been a few days and he hasn't even started looking. The guest decides to find out if the guy is really looking for death, because he only had today left, or he would find it, or he would die. Zietian reminds me that he didn't know about any scroll, so how would he find it? The other person does not perceive these words seriously, saying that Zietian is determined to go against Quicksand. The hero is trying to figure out what to do. Now he has eyes that see right through everything, but he still can see their movements. He doesn't want to admit it, but his chances of dying are today large enough that this time, a lone figure standing on a branch is watching what is happening. A tree. The enemy attacks the hero. He dodges the first blow, then goes on the defensive in order to let your eyes adjust to your opponent's speed. Mentally, he calls himself to gather himself and fully focus on the fight. After a few seconds, he catches the maskman's hand, and then, which sends it flying. He twists in the air, recognizing Fang Lao's Tai Chi technique. A little surprised that the guy managed to learn the techniques of Fang Lao, so he decides that dragging out the fight for too long will be problematic, so he's in a hurry to get it over with. Hurry up, breaking off in the direction of the hero. The opponent is stopped by a teapot flying at him. He stops, noticing the appearance of a woman, a new actor. The girl left the house, demanding uninvited guests to get out. In her hands is an iron, which she is not averse to throwing at someone. Zietian doesn't understand what she's doing. She does, so he urges her to return to the house immediately. The beauty reminds that he saved. They have a life, so she can't let anything happen to him. Hero exhaling heavily, admitting that he really hated her, but he didn't expect her to show such courage. When he can't back down either, a member of Quicksand asks why they're flirting if they're going to die soon. At this moment, a man with long white hair flies over the wall. Beautiful snow-white suit and katana on the belt. His appearance comes as a surprise for everyone. The trio immediately turns around, recognizing the man as Jian Yuan Huang, the swordmaster. One in the whole world. The man unsheathes his weapon and for a few light and easy steps, he deals with two opponents. The third one tries to leave unnoticed, but the master, Mecha, asks him to pick up his comrades. He carries out the order, capturing members of the group and running away. The white-haired man approaches the hero and asks if he is Zietian. Last one confirms the other person's words, mentally emphasizing that this person was so fast that even he couldn't. I noticed his movements. The man says that the guy is very similar to him, and that he has the same courage. Zietian's eyes light up, and he immediately asks if the other is referring to him, his father, and whether he knew his father. The swordmaster doesn't answer the guy's questions, calling for a crush, a stone and a necklace. The hero grabs his jewel, not understanding why he should destroy your mother's inheritance. The interlocutor asks the guy not to worry, because this stone was added by his father later, so that inside is his mother's legacy. Zietian is a little doubtful, because even if it's true, how can it be true? He can crush a rock with his bare hands. The next thing I know, he's got one hand on his arm, a stone that turns to dust. Opening his palm, he discovers a small scroll inside, along with small pieces of glass. Zietian realizes that he has what those Quicksand people asked him about in his hands. The man explains that his father wanted the guy to keep it carefully, so it was hidden in his most important pendant. The hero becomes interested in who his father was. Master Mecha cannot give an exact answer because the guy's father would like him to live a normal life in peace and quiet, so the only thing he can tell him is that his father was a great man. Hearing these words, the brunette notes that his life has already ceased to be the life of an ordinary person. It turns out that the interlocutor is precisely because of this and appeared now. He wants Zietian to become his disciple. The hero is a little surprised by this, but after a moment he pulls himself together and gets to his knees, greeting the master. The swordmaster also notices that before the college entrance exam, there were less than 6 days left, and it was his father's wish that he pass the exams, so the man urges the student not to miss it, and about training he calls him come to him every day after school to study. Zietian takes these words to heart. For your information, the swordmaster leaves, and the girl runs up to the guy, helping him up and clarifying whether everything is fine with him. The hero says nothing, mentally glad that he is no longer a loser, which may be inactive. The next day comes pretty quickly. Xia Tian goes to school. Halfway to it, he is overtaken by Hot Pepper, who asks, when will the master teach her martial arts? The hero also asks not to molest him, noting that he himself should learn martial arts from his master. The girl with red hair, I thought they agreed that if she became his wife, he would teach her martial arts. The brunette does not understand when he managed to give her a positive answer, because she is not at all in his taste. Hot Pepper is angry, but holds back his mood, deciding to find out what type of girls he likes. To the master, Xia Tian reports that at the very least, he doesn't like girls in this kind of clothing. In a non-standard form, two friends urge Sister Ho to stop. That already somehow holds back, and when she comes to, she says it's just makeup, so she'll change it. It also encourages you to change your friend's makeup. Xia Tian goes to a fast food restaurant, where it's already waiting for him somehow. The cousin confesses that the guy scared her to death yesterday, so she wonders if it's okay. After all the subsequent problems were solved by Master Zhu. The girl suggests, call Tom and thank him for his help. Xia Tian reports that everything is already in order and not worth it to be worried. After all, he had spoken to Senior Zhu on the phone. It turns out that the old man himself. I thank the guy because he agreed to take part in the tournament for his sake, so that settle the differences between him and his nephew. But looking at his influence, his strength is quite strong. It is significant, so that the fact that he owes the hero a favor is not a loss. Xia Tian takes a sip of her coffee. After that, the blonde snatches the cup out of his hands, calling him a pervert because this is her stake. Xia Tian nervously apologizes. The cousin is glad that the guy is fine, but she wants to ask him for something. The hero asks when his relative started begging him. He replies that she is not begging him, but asking him to do something for her. These words cause laughter from the dark-haired man, who notices that this is the true nature of his cousin. The other one doesn't like the guy taunting her. It turns out that a relative wants to. The guy is playing basketball for the art department this afternoon. At this point to their table, the company of two goons and a beauty is suitable. The latter clarifies, really opponents. They are in search of external assistance. The guest reveals that she has heard that her art department is full of women and that she can't even recruit enough people to play basketball. These words make her cousin angry, but she doesn't like them. There is nothing to answer that. Xia Tian enters the case, who notices the girl's gorgeous figure. Height 175 centimeters, leg length 114 centimeters. He considers this. The body is perfect, so invites beauties to come to him to become his little one. My little wife. These words greatly anger the interlocutor, who calls him a descendant, after which she turns to the hero's cousin, saying that she just adds to the number of people with such people, so she'd better admit defeat now. The cousin says that she should not care who she finds. It turns out that between the two, the girls had a bet. If Zhu wins it, then the beauty opposite will have to call her sister Zhu when she sees her in the future, but if her cousin loses, then she will have to call out. The other person is Sister Yan. Xia Tian, on the other hand, sees that the bet is the problem and just enjoys it. He automatically takes a Coke and sips it through a straw. Blonde Fest finds a missing item. The hero breaks into a conversation between two representatives of the fair sex, wanting to conclude a conversation with Yan. The latter decides to clarify what are the bets in the bet. The bid is very high. Look at this basketball game. If she loses, then from now on, she will be his little wife, and when she sees him, she should call him big husband. Hearing this, the beauty hurries to put her foot on the guy's face, saying that he is looking for death. Xia Tian gets up a little, catching Beauty's kick behind the lower part of her shin. This is embarrassing to me. Yan sisters, however, the cousin does not allow the hero to enjoy it, prescribing a powerful slap on the head. After all, she doesn't understand what he's doing. After recovering, the girl agrees to the bet. Its terms and conditions. These are, if the guy loses, he will run naked around the school. After that, the beauty leaves with the members of her basketball team. Zhu gets angry, starting to beat the relative with his fists, and saying that he still has a lot of audacity, because he wants to, so that her nemesis could become his wife. The hero also reminds that only a small wife. In his mind's eye, he notices that there's only one fist that he won't dare dodge, and that's it. His cousin's fist. A few hours later, a warm-up session begins on the basketball court. Teams. Sister Yan states that she will only send one level 1 player this time and uses all other second-level resources. We can say that this is a small handicap for opponents. However, she notes that the opponents should not be told that she is bullying her. After putting on the team uniform and walking next to her cousin, Zietian decides to find out if these are all players who are playing in the team. They have. This question is very important because they don't even have a basic quantity. Interviewee asks you to wait a bit. The group approaches two guys. This is Hu Peng and Yanzu, third parties, my cousin's assistants. The hero exhales heavily, admitting that at least the basic. The number of players they have. At this time, the audience in the stands, namely several girls, starts supporting Fang Lai. Zhu, hearing this name, stiffens up a little. A handsome blonde man walks out onto the playground. He confesses that he loves flowers' applause and he knows he's handsome, but he just wants to be a nice guy in peace and quiet. It turns out, Fan Lai is their main player. He's tall, good with the ball, and very popular. Little sister Yan grabs the blonde man by the ear, telling him that he's a real narcissist and that she'll let him go and drink her special drink if he only cares about being beautiful and mess up her business. The guy begs for mercy, noting that if she tells him, she will score 50 or even more. 100 points. The hero exhales heavily, noticing to his regret that even to cheer for, there's no one in the art department. At this moment, a familiar blonde appears, who is dressed in a black suit, a very explicit form of support. Zietian's nose starts to bleed, and he is very confused, mentally trying to turn on the radio. Pass through view mode. The hero and his team enter the playground. Yanzu notes that they can play in any position, but they should remember to pass the ball to him when they have it. The dark-haired man knows in his mind that it would be better if these two could win the game alone, because he doesn't want to show his strength on the basketball court yet. The ad platform. The match begins, and a few moments later a ball is thrown into their ring. Instead, Zietian realizes that things won't be as simple as he would like. The guy with purple hair gets the ball and starts analyzing the situation on the court. He tries to find someone to pass to, but his friend Hu Peng has already been blocked. The latter breaks down from his seat, which is why another member of the enemy team. I have to take my mind off it. At this point, the hero gets a free corridor, getting ability to receive the ball. Yanzu notices this. Before the purple-haired guy could make a pass, an enemy forward knocked the ball out of the box. His hands. The hero could only wonder why a member of his team hadn't given someone a pass in all that time. The first part of the match comes to an end and the break begins. The score is 40-0 in favor. The enemy. Yanzu swears at his team, believing that what is happening is not their fault, because they, two professionals, and how can they manage three amateurs? The guy with glasses reminds the professionals that they were immediately told about the situation when they came to play, so he sees no reason to scold them if they can't beat them now. The second ball notices that it's not even that they can't help at all, but that the pros just don't give them the ball. Yanzu declares that he doesn't care, and that now he is. He plays more, because this score can no longer be corrected. The blonde decides to find out what they should do. Wu Qingsu, after all, if both of them left, they wouldn't have enough players. The guy with the purple hair. He also made a mental note that if two beautiful girls came and begged him, he would. I might have changed my mind. All the plans of the impudent spoils the hero. He approaches the guys from the art department, asking them to do it. A replacement in the team, telling Zietian that they can't win back as a challenge. He declares that he will show them the difference in abilities. Yanzu yells at the guy, thinking that he's a bad guy. He's gone mad, and if he can get his revenge, he'll be barking like a dog in here. Announce the beginning. The second round. Yanzu decides to see what other tricks the guy is capable of. His companion notes that basketball is a real men's sport, so he is interested in how the guy is doing. Try to win with a bunch of weaklings. The forward of the enemy team sees that the opposite side has quarreled, so there is very little left to play. Sister Yan asks him to keep scoring 3-pointers. The match starts. Zietian receives the ball, then jumps under her basket. Audience, they don't understand how he's going to throw the ball out of his own basket. The ball goes into the enemy basket. This is shocking to everyone. The commentator calls this roll a new masterpiece because the ball crossed the entire court before it hit the basket. It calls Zietian as a basketball genius. The latter raises a finger to the sky, saying that this is only the beginning of the game. Beginning. A cousin and a friend watch in shock. Enemy team counts. What is happening is a real madness because this is simply impossible. The ball falls back into your hands. Zietian. He deftly circles all the players of the enemy team, approaching the enemy basket. He easily throws the ball into the basket. After some time, the match ends. The invoice turns out to be in favor of the hero's team, 40-111. All the audience applauds, saying how it was cool and mesmerizing. The team supports Zietian, and the cousin and her friend are happy to win with him. At that time, Two professionals who previously claimed that this match is impossible to win, call it, get lucky and try to just walk away, ignoring the hero. The same guy asks the guys not to leave, because he said he would bark like a dog. Yanzu claims that they are all in cahoots, so doesn't count. He offers to compete again, and if Zietian wins, he will bark like a dog. These words unsettle the hero, but he says that he is not afraid of the enemy. At this time, Sister Yan confesses to herself that this boy is really a genius, and if she can get him on the basketball team, it's even harder for her. Imagine how strong it will be in the future, but there is one caveat. The girl is strong. I care about their bet. He closes his eyes and cringes, not understanding how she can do something like that to someone. At this time, the hero passes next to her, asking how about what she previously did. I was talking about a bet. The cousin asks the relative to forget and leave the rival alone, because I didn't think she'd keep her promise. The beauty shouts loudly that she does not belong to the type of person for whom this word is just an empty phrase. Much embarrassed, she calls the opponent Sister Zhu, and the hero a big husband. Zietian, startled by what has happened, looks after the fleeing beauty and asks, is this really true? Normal. At this point, Zhu notices that it sounded like she was shouting at the other person. To her husband, the guy exhales heavily, relieving the accumulated fatigue. It's all just a little thing. Everyday life, which is not so important. After school, the hero goes not to himself, home, but to your master. Zietian greets his master. The latter goes straight to the point, saying that his father, I never said anything about martial arts because I didn't want him to follow his path. However, he has entered this world, and he will fulfill his promise to his father. Man announces that from today on, he will be teaching the boy the immortal steps of the wandering ones. Clouds and sharp fingers. Sharp fingers attract the attention of the hero because he saw this, a martial art technique only in the series. It seems to have been performed by Lu Xiaofeng. He's a little surprised that such a martial art really exists. The master replies that it is a famous technique of his father in those days. From this, Zietian makes the assumption that, which his father must have been a master of in the past. He wants to learn more about his own business. Close. The master also says that he has never practiced these two martial arts techniques, so he will teach the guy only inner strength techniques. The brunette understands that the interlocutor is clever. Gone off topic. The man explains that the immortal steps of the wandering cloud come from I Ching and 8 trigrams, and sharp fingers focus on acupuncture points on the body, human and attack accuracy. Speaking of this, his father had asked him to study 100 schools since he was a child. Thoughts? The I Ching, the 8 trigrams, the acupoints of the human body, all of this is for him. My father taught. At the time, he thought it was his father's hobby, but he didn't realize it was the foundation that has been laid for it ever since. After some time, the wizard emphasizes that the guy has the best talent he's ever seen, and that he'll be able to bring it out. Take your father's art to a new level. In one of the buildings, 2 guys get attached to Zhu. They offer the beauty a drink together with them and relax. At the same time, one of them grabs the fair sex by the hand. She tries to break away, demanding to be released. At that moment, Yin appears around the corner. Zhu, the hero's cousin, asks him to help her, but the guy sets conditions. He is being called. The other person can become his girlfriend, and then he will help her. Zhu is amazed that the guy is trying to take advantage of the fact that a person is in danger. At this moment, a friend with yellow hair comes out into the corridor from one of the rooms along with me. Your young man. The latter asks what the guys are doing, and then calls. Release Sister Kingsu. My friend wants to know what happened in the first place. Annoying people. They leave with a warning that they will come back again. Yinzu also says that the girl will not be able to escape this trouble because their sports department sings very close. However, if she agrees be his girlfriend, then he'll send someone here. Kingsu says that the interlocutor should not even think about it. Then the guy with the purple hair decides to put it aside because he's not a big fan of the world. I wanted to talk about the bet. At this moment, a bully appears behind him, about 2 meters tall, with a bald head. He asks if he is the beauty's boyfriend. Yinzu gives a quick and the nervous reply that he didn't know her at all. This only makes the hero's cousin angrier. The big guy suggests that Kingsu go out and have a drink with him. Guys from the girls' department come out. Go ahead, urging the bald man not to molest girls. You can see that there are doubts and fear on their faces. However, they intend to protect the 2 beauties. Muscle cars for small school children. Get out of his sight, or he'll accidentally break their necks. The hero's cousin understands the situation. It's gotten really bad, so she grabs her phone. At this time, Zietian is doing a dumbbell workout at her home. covered in sweat after a very intense exercise with iron. He picks up the phone with an unknown number. After finding out his cousin's voice and understanding the situation, he instantly agrees to come to the place of events. Hero. He throws on his shirt, making a mental note that it's time to practice his skills, taught by the master. First of all, he wants to hone the immortal steps of wandering clouds. The guy takes off at an incredible speed. His movements are so fast that it overtakes cars moving on the roadway. One of the drivers notices this, startled, trying to figure out what it is. The hero quickly arrives at the place of events. During this time, two bandits manage to scatter the nerds who have come to the defense of two friends. Baldy's partner. I warned them that it was none of their business, but the guys still stood up for the beauties. It didn't pass a lot of time. The big guy threw them around, saying that they didn't even know what they were made of. Instead, he approached Kinksu, noting that this room has very good sound insulation, so even if they yelled at the top of their lungs, no one would hear them. At this point, the mysterious voice of the guest informs that not only will not hear, but no one will. He'll see it. Using her martial art, Xiatian makes it to her home in time. A relative. The bald man is a little surprised, not understanding where this kid came from. His companions. They emphasize that they have not seen it before and did not notice its appearance. The hero accepts. Take a fighting stance, knowing that it's time to test your sharp fingers. The bald man orders his subordinates to beat the impudent man to death. Crowd together with their leader. It breaks down on the hero, but the latter easily passes by the huge big man, quickly, dealing with his henchmen. It doesn't take him even 2 seconds. The big guy turns around, seeing the defeated subordinates and the boy who stands with his back to him, with his hands in his pockets. Kinksu can't believe her eyes as she realizes that this is Xiatian. Her friends, too. They are impressed by its strength and speed. Xiatian slowly turns his head with a very hostile look towards the last scoundrel. The other one nervously asks who the hell he is. The brunette slowly approaches him and he grabs hold of his t-shirt, explaining that he said earlier that this room is well soundproofed. After that, without waiting for a response from the bald man, he kicks him into the room. Hero follow the big guy inside, noting that no one will come, even if he shouts at you. The whole throat. Xiatian slams the door behind her. Cousin and her friends hear the sounds of blows, falls and screams of pain, and then the sound of bones breaking. They look at each other in shock, afraid. Even imagine what's going on there. A few seconds later, the brunette leaves the room, saying that everything is over. Inside, there is a battered big man whose face is swollen. The room itself is a mess. The bald man lost consciousness from the beating. The police run into the building. Some of the girls seeing this, asks what's going on. Another replies that she heard there was a fight inside. Bandits. After a couple of minutes, the hero is taken outside, going to pick up the department. Kinksu against this, because he doesn't understand why the police are doing this, because he is the one who saved them. The uniformed man calmly explains that they just picked him up to help out in investigation. After that, he asks the girl not to interfere in their affairs. Xiatian asks his cousin not to worry, because his case should not be treated as an attack, but rather as an attack, like self-defense, so nothing will happen to him. The girl still doubts it. Into this time, the bald man is taken away by a nurse. The big guy demands to find him the best lawyer. Then he calls for finding Mr. Liu, because it can't end like this. Kinksu mentally notes that she doesn't know what other trump cards he has, so she decides to deal with the matter. In advance, the girl starts calling her mom. Kinksu calls her mother, saying that something has happened to Xiatian. The woman replies that she already knows everything, so her daughter doesn't have to worry because she'll take care of the rest. The woman drops the phone, dialing another number. She calls Mr. Zhu, expressing her opinion, the desire to help out one guy. The man on the phone says that if it's not very important, then he can't do anything about it. Then the representative of the fair sex reveals the details, saying that the person whom she wants him to save her long son. These words shock the other person. He quickly realizes that the situation is changing dramatically, so he asks to wait, assuring that he will take care of it. After that, the woman stops the call. Someone in the room asks if everything is alright. Miss Ita says that everything is fine, so she suggests that we continue talking about Bingbing. Xiatian leaves the police station. He immediately notices the oddity because they said that they want to sue him for assault and bodily harm, but he was released after the incident. One phone call. The hero does not have time to walk a few meters as he starts to call your phone number. He picks up the phone, whereupon a voice on the other end of the line notes that he's on the phone. a very capable guy, and all of a sudden he's a good fighter, so they ask him if he's met someone else. Yin Nai. The hero quickly puts the picture together in his head, realizing that his aunt helped him, but a little surprised that aunt knows Yin Nai. The guy informs her that the latter is the master. The woman admits that she thought so she calls the interlocutor. Come to see her tomorrow because she wants to have a serious conversation with him. The woman sheds. He hung up, leaving Zietian to ponder. He wonders what his aunt has to say to him. Moving down the street in the late afternoon, the guy finds a street restaurant and decides to have dinner. Here, the brunette takes one of the empty tables, starting to study the menu. At this point to him, a girl in a gorgeous red dress approaches, asking if they can share a table with him. Next to the speaker is another beautiful woman wearing a tracksuit. A representative of the fair sex refers to the hero as a brother. Zietian declares that it is an honor to eat at the same table with such two beautiful people. Girls, the previously silent representative of the fair sex emphasizes that you just had to say yes or no, and you didn't have to flirt with anyone. When beauties sit down, a friend in a red dress asks the girl not to be like this because this guy, just kind. Unexpectedly, the hero carefully examines the grumpy girl, after which he claims that she's sick. This drives the beauty out of herself because she thinks that he is trying to insult her. Girl. He throws insults in response, noticing that she will put him in jail for harassment. Zietian is the same. He explains that she is mistaken because he is not harassing her, but simply says that she is very ill. He decides to ask her if she's been suffering from insomnia, dry mouth, and bad mood lately. Moods. After that, the guy emphasizes that if he is not mistaken, she will not live to see 30 years old. The interlocutor with a sinking heart asks how the stranger knows all this. Zietian takes a closer look at the beauty, then says that to be precise, he'll only live to be 27. Then the beauty is surprised to realize that she will be 27 next year. The sister asks not to believe a loved one in the words of a stranger. The patient rises from the table, stating that she doesn't want to eat anymore. Her sister is in no hurry to leave, wanting to know if there are a cure for this disease. The brunette also notes that now the girl is so angry that if he'd told her about the treatment, she'd have jumped on him and beaten him up. My sister is in deadly pain. Still, find out what the treatment is. Zietian replies that you should become his wife. At first, this surprises the interlocutor, and then she laughs, noting that the young man has a sense of humor. Beauty gets up from her seat and she leaves her business card on the table, emphasizing that she is going to change her sister's mind, and he should not forget to call her later. After that, she goes up to the hero and kisses him on the forehead, saying that they are agreed. This puts the hero, who is clearly not ready for something like this, into a stupor. The sister goes to get her loved one, asking them to wait for her. Zietian is also nervous. She just came up to him and kissed him on the forehead, but she didn't ask him anything about the price. The next morning, the hero runs into a multi-story building. He's sweaty and tired, visible that he had run a marathon before. It turns out that the guy is already late for a meeting. After reaching the right floor, Zietian grabs the handle and opens the door without hesitation, apologizing to my aunt for being late. Then he stops abruptly, realizing that he's in the middle of something. There are not only his aunt in the room, but also two other people, one of whom he is vaguely aware of. A sign. This person turns out to be the sick girl Bingbing that he met yesterday. The aunt, seeing the reaction of the young man and the girl, asks if they know each other. Bingbing. He says she can't possibly know such a scoundrel. The woman next to her, presumably the mother, asks her to calm down. He is also in a hurry to find out what the hero did to the girl, since she did so. She speaks highly of him. The brunette replies that he didn't do anything. Aunt decides to get down to business, claiming that this is the fiancé she found for him. At the same time, the woman points to the guy. These words leave both Zietian and Bingbing speechless. The latter is blown up from the spot, stating that it's not the same as what she asked for. The girl wanted a tall and majestic, beautiful man, a charming, courteous and elegant young man. Missy claims that she is not asking Bingbing to marry him, but she just wants to help her father get over it. Tough time. The hero also mentally notes that his aunt is so brave that he can't even tell her. Object. The trio gets up from their seats and bows, thanking the woman for her help. When they are deleted, they are. Tian decides to find out what all this means and if she wants him to pretend to be her fiancé. Missy gives a positive answer. According to her, Mayor Lin is a good person, but he has no. His daughter is being chased by Yu Wenhao from the Yu Wen family, so his aunt suggests use your hero as a shield to help them. Zietian is amazed at how much his aunt trusts him. he decides to find out if she really wants him to. Fought with such a powerful family, Missy explains that she knows that tigers don't happen children from dogs. The brunette notes that she says so, but he doesn't even know what his parents are like if she doesn't tell him anything about them. Missy notices that in exchange for his help, she will give him some information. The woman claims that the boy's mother is still alive. These words, they put the guy in a state of shock. When he moves away, he gets even more questions. He wants to know where his mom is and what's wrong with her. My aunt says it would be better if he won't know it. Before getting into the car, Missy asks the guy to take care of Kingsu if one day she will. It will also disappear. These words strike Zietian to the core because he doesn't quite understand what's going on. Happens. The next day, the hero notes that after his aunt said this, he didn't want any more ask questions because she had a reason not to tell him, but he didn't expect her to take advantage of the opportunity and set a task for them. The guy thinks he's weak, doesn't he? I agreed easily. In his memories, a picture of a bygone day pops up where his aunt asks for help, a favor for her, and he automatically agrees. The memory is interrupted by a girl's voice shouting about the thief. The guy turns around and sees how the girl's bag was stolen by an unknown person on a motorcycle. The thief flies past Zietian, looking at him carefully. The other man clenches his fingers into a fist, emphasizing that he had arrived just in time, for he was just looking for a way to vent his anger. The dark-haired man focuses on himself, then takes off using immortal steps. Wandering clouds. The thief steps on the gas, laughing under his helmet, because he believes that no one can catch up with him. In that, the moment the hero is level with the motorcycle, beads of sweat float up on the criminal's face and from his lips. The question breaks down about who he is since he can catch up with him. Zietian doesn't respond, making a mistake. Jump at an incredible speed. With a powerful kick, Zietian knocks the thief off the vehicle, sending him sprawling on the asphalt. The bike loses control and falls on its side at high speed. The hero catches it, a stolen bag, emphasizing that the criminal deserved it. In the next instant, he senses danger. A girl in a tracksuit strikes. A kick hits the hero's head, but he grabs the beauty's leg with his free hand. The attacker's pupils, narrowed by a silly coincidence. The guy lets go of Bingbing's leg, realizing that he has collided again with her. The girl calls Zietian a scumbag, saying that her name is Lin Bingbing. After that, it takes out from her pocket is a police badge, announcing that she is a police officer and the guy suspected of robbery because she caught him with a stolen bag. Beauty orders a young man walk with her. Zietian tries to make some excuses, realizing just how much she has to do with it. This situation is ridiculous. At this point, the victim of this incident runs up to them, a member of the fairer sex, claiming that it wasn't Zietian. The girl who came running in a hurry says that the guy was not the one who stole her bag, but he is the one who helped bring it back. Bingbing grabs his head, saying that it sounds a bit much. It's confusing. The hero points his finger at the bag thief, while the police officer deals with. As a burglar, Zietian hands the stolen bag to the girl. She thanks him with words, and then he wants to repay the kindness with money, so he holds out a bill. The guy does not accept money, which surprises the girl a little. He's a little surprised that I forgot, so he hurries to remind me that he borrowed money from her at the hospital, but a long time ago. I should have returned it, but I forgot. The other woman looks surprised, but she doesn't say anything. I remember his name, but I remember what he did, because he's the one who didn't take 5 million. Hero a bit. I hate to hear it, but he still reminds the girl of his name. The nurse thanks you for today, asking if the guy will have time now, because she would like to. I wanted to invite him to dinner. Zietian replies that it's another time, because he has something else to do today. He starts running away. Bingbing tries to stop him, because she needs to take some money from him. Surprisingly, the guy uses his martial art and quickly disappears from view. The police officer tries to understand why this man is running so fast. The girl enters room number 888. She apologizes for tardiness, saying that she encountered one case right on the street and just delivered the thief to the police station. Her eyes widen when she sees Zietian in the room, who is calmly drinking tea. That is, a cocktail through a straw. Bingbing nervously asks why it's him again, and why it's always him. The hero decides to find out why she doesn't ask how he's doing. The woman informs that this time the girl will need to work together with him. Bingbing incredulously, he asks if this is about Zietian. The woman confirms, saying that the mission is to track down the location where the third-level assassin, Dark Knight, is hiding. Once they complete this assignment, they will be able to join the Special Operations Division. The girl clearly has doubts about this, but she does not have time to express them because the woman. He interrupts her, telling her to remember the Special Operations Division's rule: don't ask questions about people or things that it has nothing to do with. After that, she turns to the hero by passing him a folder of documents that contains all the information about the person he is looking for. I have to find him before he knows. A woman notices that if a guy wants to learn more as for his father's death, then he should do as he is told. Evening comes. A two-man team is moving down the street. Bingbing warns the guy that this is her only chance to get into special operations, so if it fails, then she would make him suffer. The brunette emphasizes that he was asked to help her, and she didn't even know what to do. I thanked him. The girl declares that she does not need his help because she does not see how he can help her. The brunette offers to pass a very simple test. He points a finger at the woman, asking her if she's a good girl. The interviewee, what he does. Bingbing turns on analytics, saying it looks like white collar from the office or a bank employee. Zietian believes that this person is a security guard. The girl thinks that the guy is joking because the guards do not dress like that. The hero noticed that he said that he was a security guard, but he did not say that he was at work. Now, after that, he notices that the girl is now in normal clothes. In that moment, the man in question is approached by a young man and asks why the man in question is a young man here in these clothes. The reason for the dispute between two people reports that he worked in the shift of the interlocutor. I didn't have time to change. Bingbing freezes in shock, deciding to ask how Zietian found out. Last, explains that his suit and shoes were clean and well groomed, which means that he usually doesn't. He wears a suit like this, and whenever a car appears in the parking lot, he can't appreciate it. The width of the parking space. A representative of the fair sex is impressed. Zietian clarifies how the girl thinks now, whether he is worthy to help her now. Bingbing replies that then he could continue to help her find her goal. They go into a bar together. On a small stage at the console is a girl with pink hair. It calls for, show the dancers your hands and repeat after her to swing together. Bingbing asks for a boyfriend. Tell them how they'll find him now. Zietian offers to dance with him. This is a bit surprising. A beautiful woman, but she decides to act. Noticing her partner's movements, Zietian points out that she'll take care of finding him, but she doesn't have to move so unnaturally. Bingbing doesn't think he can find someone by looking in a dark place like this. Your own. She doesn't voice her doubts out loud, giving her partner a dubious look. The hero is the same. He believes that as long as he has these eyes, he can find him, even if he is in the dark or disguised. After a few moments, the guy notices that the target is not in this room, but the girl. He recalls that they were given this information by intelligence. Then the hero reports that intelligence can be loyal too, so they should wait. To make it look like a couple, he puts his hand on the table. Your partner's shoulder. The same one throws it away, telling you not to touch it. Zietian raises his hands to show that he has given up and understood perfectly. Thereafter, he calls out to the bartender, wanting a few drinks to blend in with the crowd. At this point, he notices why. At the back entrance, a middle-aged man with his hair combed to the side. He lights a cigarette at the door, using a lighter. The hero realizes that this is exactly the person they were looking for. The hero brings the glass of wine that he ordered. He thanks and then notifies Bingbing that the goal has appeared. The girl follows the guy's gaze, noticing a young man at the back entrance, a person smoking a cigarette. She says that he does not look like himself from the profile, which is dark. Highlights that the target has had a facial reconstruction. This statement generates a new question from a member of the fairer sex, because she doesn't understand how Zietian can know about this. The hero also asks her not to look back, because the goal is right behind her. A couple of them are standing at a table, waiting for them. The target rushes to the bar and takes one of the empty seats. Zietian understands that they have aroused further suspicion because of their partner's actions, so he abruptly grabs her by the waist, pulling her to him and forcing a kiss. The girl is nervous. She asks him what he's doing right now. The hero asks her not to move. Obviously, the guy's actions. They put the beauty in a stupor. Zietian leans over her partner's lips, telling her that her behavior is too unnatural. Therefore, it is highly likely to be noticed by them. At this time, the target turns around and he notices a couple kissing. He snorts and returns to his drink. Bingbing, realizing that the danger is partially over, decides to find out what they will do next. It offers contact their superiors because their mission is to find the target. Zietian notices that every member of Quicksand has a chance to kill, so if they don't, if they intervene in time, then most likely someone will be killed while waiting for orders from above. After hearing The beauty quickly digests the information, specifying whether the guy wants to do immediate arrest. The hero stresses that they should at least try. He notices that the target is converting again. Pay attention to them, so he pulls his partner into a kiss so as not to attract attention. The girl also notes that this is actually her first kiss. At this point, the goal sends. The bartender made a strange box, saying that it was a package that was handed to him. Man, he rises from his seat, asking for 2 glasses of red bat for the 2 of them behind him. It's about Bingbing and Zietian. The guy says that the girl should forget and stop pretending, because they were noticed. Bingbing doesn't understand why the hero just kisses her like that back then. Seeing the target go to a nearby location, the room, it encourages you to follow it. She follows the goal with confident steps, and Zietian also notices that someone wants to stop them from chasing him. He decides to decide. A problem with stalkers to begin with. The hero turns around and moves at breakneck speed towards the opponents. Using your own martial arts learned with a master, he deals with 3 guards in one breath. Users don't understand what's going on. Some suggest that the fallen people are just too drunk. Bingbing curses, realizing that they've missed their target. Zietian emphasizes that this is a person from quicksand, so it would be strange if she managed to catch up with him. These words make you angry. A beauty, because the guy is very unflattering about her abilities, so she asks, why is it taking so long? Zietian is quite quick to find an excuse, saying that he just left. I found my phone at the bar and went back for it. A representative of the fair sex pulls herself together, trying to figure out what they should do now. The hero does not lose his composure, asking his partner not to. Don't worry, but put on your glasses. Bingbing wants to know what these glasses are, but when she puts them on, she doesn't know what they are. Then marvels at what he sees. Zietian explains that it is a night vision powder. His aunt gave it to him, and I took the opportunity to sprinkle some on it. Bingbing is now more customized. Resolutely, she wants to go in pursuit, but the hero does not quite like this idea. Chase the target. The girl asks what's wrong. The guy explains that it was discovered because she was unnatural, and now she's wearing such eye-catching glasses that it would be weird. Don't fall under suspicion. Zietian asks her partner to wait a bit. He approaches the blonde smoking at the entrance of the bar. Her revealing outfit literally attracts the attention of various men demanding to be thrown out. White matter. The hero offers to sell him clothes and a wig for 500 yuan. The girl is the same, claims it's her real hair. The guy asks you to stop acting out the drama because there is no need to pretend, for her stubble is visible. The courtesan viciously asks what he is talking about. Zietian notes that he won't be able to get paid for. His cheap stuff is more than 100 yuan, so he will either sell it to him or the hero intends to call the police. It is clear that the decision of the disguised man takes extremely quickly. Left with only his underwear on, he offers to sell another bra at a discount. Zietian. He returns to Bingbing, urging her to put on new clothes so that she can continue surveillance. The girl waves it off. She doesn't want to wear other people's clothes because it's too disgusting. The guy is a little unclear about her logic because she so wants to be in the special operations team, but it can't do such trivial things. After these words, Bingbing accepts clothes. It doesn't take long for her to merge into a new image of a blonde courtesan. Wearing glasses, the beauty notices that today she made a fool of herself, so if he failed, he would see what she did to him. They approach a large building. Hero notes that the target has entered this karaoke bar, so they are on their way to it. My partner is surprised. These words, because she thought that she was the only one who could see with the help of night vision powder. Visions, so she asks how the guy knows where he's gone. Zietian quickly. He justifies himself by saying that this is a professional decision, and that he understood when he saw in which direction he was working. The direction she's looking at. Bingbing takes it for granted, not asking him any questions. The hero mentally notices that he can't tell her that he can see without these glasses. When they enter the building, it turns out that Zietian still can't see through the walls with his own eyes, but through the glass in the door, he can see much more than the average person. While walking down a corridor in a building, the hero notices through the blurry glass the presence of a target behind it. There, a girl in a very revealing outfit picks up a photo that a man dropped, wondering if it's his girlfriend on it. The man snatches the photo out of the courtesan's hands, and the guy notices that it's a picture of Jen Ru. He understands that, most likely, Tseng Ru is the purpose of the murder. The servant asks the hero to go to the room prepared for him and his companion. Guy notices that it's already running. When he is alone with Bingbing, he reports that he has found the target. This confuses the beauty because she does not understand how he did it, because when they met, once here, the night vision powder became almost invisible. The hero declares that this is already. It doesn't matter because he found it, so the girl should go and report, because the goal should not be leave for a while and Xia Tian will see to it. My partner takes note of these words. As soon as they enter the designated room, Bingbing immediately dials the superiors. While she's at it, communicates with the top, the hero goes out into the corridor. He looks around and notices the presence of a camera in the room. The passageway. Xia Tian takes out a coin from his pocket, then sits down to tie his shoelace. With an imperceptible click, he sends a coin to the camera, knocking it out. At this point, from the next room, a beautiful girl comes out of the room, thanking you for the allotted time and asking you to contact her at next time. After that, the hero goes into the next room, saying that they are back together again. We met. The man is a little surprised by this development. The man indignantly asks who let the guy in. In his mind's eye, he remembers what he encountered with him at the bar, but he thought he'd definitely lost him. The man pulls out a pistol and hides it behind his back, noting that he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he'll call the police if he doesn't. It will go away. Xia Tian uses the immortal steps of wandering clouds, cultivating the unthinkable speed. He instantly finds himself behind the target, who looks around in shock. The hero could kill him with a stab to the neck, but didn't do it. The brunette jumps on the back of the enemy, taking him in a chokehold. Mentally, he is calm. He exhales, because not so long ago he had to hide from these quicksand people, but now he can handle one without much effort thanks to the skills he taught him. Master. When the man loses consciousness, the hero decides to look inside the scroll. Inside the bundle is a dagger. This surprises the guy a little, but he immediately notices the sharpness. Weapon blades. He decides to keep the weapon for himself because it is very good. Xia Tian is waiting. My partner in the hallway. The girl runs up to him a couple of minutes later, saying that Auntie is coming soon. That she had asked them to leave as soon as possible, so as not to frighten him off. Agrees with this. As they leave the room, Bingbing confesses that she is really grateful today to him, so when she joins the Special Operations Division, she will definitely thank him properly. After that, the beauty says goodbye and runs away on her own business. The hero also takes in hands on the phone. The guy decides to call Ru. He notices that in their time you need to be on your guard because he is only a child. That he dealt with the killer who'd tried to kill her. This surprises her. The guy's words. They unsettle her, so she offers to meet and discuss everything. Xia Tian agrees, noticing that they will see each other later. The hero doesn't just stop talking. In one of the dark rooms, in the alleys, he notices several people kicking the poor guy. Actually, he didn't want to get involved in street fights, but the boy was badly beaten, which Xia Tian decides. Overkill. The hero approaches the brawl, saying that it's a bit much when several people are beaten up. 1. The bald brawler asks who he is to pry into other people's affairs. At this point, the battered boy gets up on his knees, then jerks closer to the speaker. To the abuser, the guy bites into the man's skin until it bleeds. He immediately reacts, raising the wild one, small above the ground, and his friend with his feet prescribes the boy in the face, forcing him to let go. My partner. The hero begins to like it, because he notices that the boy has a fairly decent energy reserve. When the two brawlers are about to continue the beating, Xia Tian intervenes in the fight. This is a roundhouse kick that sends two men flying in different directions. Xia Tian urges that next time they don't bully the weak by being strong. He is about to leave, but the beaten boy asks his savior to stop. He finds in himself. He gives her the strength to get up, and then thanks her for saving him and asks her to accept him as a disciple. His name is Gao Fei. The hero decides to find out why those guys beat him up. The kid replies that they didn't hit him, but he was the one who hit them first because they stole his girlfriend. Xia Tian decides to clarify, so they stole her or she went with them. The interviewee replies that she went voluntarily. Hearing this, the dark-haired man notes that then it is also useless to beat them, and if he wants the girls to, don't abandon it. It must have the capital and strength to ensure that they don't even think about it. Drop it. Gao Fei falls to his knees and bows his head, saying that if the other party accepts him as a disciple, he will be able to become stronger first. The hero clarifies whether the boy is not afraid, because with him, it might be too dangerous. The same one says that there is no fear in him, because he has no father, no mother, and therefore nothing to lose. Xia Tian leaves the boy a business card, asking him to call this number and ask to see him at the hotel. Students, and tell him that he is the guy's student. The hero begins to leave, noting that when to meet him, then he should call him Senior Zoo. Beaten up boy, thanks for help from your savior. Moving along the road, the hero stops when he hears his name next to it by car. It turns out to be Genru, who asks how he is. Guy getting into a very luxurious car. She says he's fine, but she's in big trouble. The girl notes that these old men so full of shit that they want her dead. Zietian reveals that they even hired a quicksand assassin, so he asks what she's going to do, emphasizing that if she can't handle it, then she can give her own share and stay safe. Genru replies that they won't let her go even if she gives it to them. They want their shares because they are afraid of her, afraid that she will live, and afraid that she will die. It will be resurrected. After hearing this, the hero realizes that the only way out of the situation is to find a way. Get rid of these people. The interviewee also notes that she does not want him to do anything illegal. She asks to give her 3 days, considering that during this time she will have time to destroy the power of these people. Old people. This surprises Zietian a little, so he wants to learn the details from the girl. Genru admits that she has already started taking action after what happened last time. However, they must be completely destroyed financially so that they do not have free money to create problems. The girl notes that if we talk about the business war, then she is an expert. The hero, along with a rich woman, drives through the gate, finding themselves at a luxurious house. Beauty offers the young guy to sit in it, noting that there is nothing at home. Zietian immediately. He notices that this is a very large house. Genru knows that the other person liked it, the apartment, so she gives him the keys, saying it will be his house in the future so he can keep the keys to this villa for yourself. The hero sees no point in giving the keys to him. The girl explains that if the bad ones come, guys, if he wants to enter the room, it's going to be a problem if he doesn't have the keys. Sangru literally puts the keys in the hands of a young man, after which a girl enters the room, together with the nanny. She recognizes her older brother and runs to him, wanting to hug him. Zietian scoops up Tian, asking if she missed him. The girl gives a positive response. At this time, the mother informs the nanny, whose name is Wang Ma, that today there's nothing else to do, so she can go home. The servants accept it. After some time, too, the hero enters the room of the hostess in thin nightclothes, saying that his room is ready, and that he should go to bed early. The guy is embarrassed, replying that she should also go to bed early. At this point, a man enters the room, a small miracle, stating that she wants to sleep with her big brother. Her mother says that her brother was tired, so she shouldn't disturb him. The brunette decides to support the girl, noting that he's very sleepy, so they'd better not come. On the tears of the girl begins accumulate moisture. Tian starts crying, saying that she wants to sleep with her big brother. Zietian covers her ears from the terrible screams. The mother leans over her child, admitting that she can't do anything. You can't do anything about it, so she can sleep with her older brother if she wants. Then a small one. The girl encourages her mother to sleep with them. There's an awkward silence. Guy and girl. They look at each other, trying to figure out if it's even possible to do this. After a while, all three of them. They share the same big bed. Zietian can't fall asleep next to such a beauty. Genru, on the other hand, looks very cute when she's asleep, and her torso slit accentuates her impressive bust. Initially, he wanted to cultivate while sleeping, but he didn't even manage to fall asleep. At that moment, a voice is heard outside the door. Strange sound. The hero abruptly takes a sitting position. The girl wakes up and wipes her face. Sleepy eyes, asks what happened. The guy grabs his dagger, which he took from one of the quicksand, and asks that the Pharisees didn't move while he went and checked. Moving on. Along the corridor, the hero admits that the sound came from Sengru's room, where she was supposed to be. Sleep with Tian if the latter hadn't convinced her to sleep with him. Zietian. He goes to the door and pulls the handle. Zietian abruptly opens the door and turns on the light, urging the guest to stop hiding and come out, because he knows where he's hiding. Taking a step into the room, the hero clarifies whether he thinks that it is good, knows how to hide. After that, the guy reveals the location of the killer, who is hiding behind a curtain with a gun in his left hand and brown socks. Then the bald man comes out of his hiding place, saying that he blames himself for being bad. He hid and was discovered by him, but it was he who was unlucky. Zietian chuckles inwardly. With his vision, it's useless to hide anywhere. The killer points a gun at the guy, asking if he wanted to tell him his name before he died. Drawing his dagger, the hero introduces himself. The killer is surprised, clarifying whether the guy is the son. Longa. These words unsettle Zietian, who realizes that the killer knew his father. The man says that he read his profile in quicksand, From it, he learned that the interlocutor is obedient and a good student, not a match for his father. When Zhang Long was 20 years old, his reputation has already spread all over China. The hero clarifies what else he knows about his character. My father. After that, he stresses that if he tells him everything, he will not kill him. It's the other party laughing, not believing that the kid can kill him, but if Xia Tian gives it to him, his father's heavenly scroll, then he will think about it. Here the guy takes out a heavenly scroll, encouraging the informant to continue. This is a little surprising to the latter because he didn't think that Xia Tian will be so serious. The man decides to tell him. It turns out that there are 4 great masters in China: Dong Wen, Zai Yin, Nansha, and Bei Jin. His father, Zhang Longyi, was Zai Yin. Hearing this, Xia Tian decides, ask why my father died, then. The bald man admits that he does not know this and then calls for, just give him the heavenly scroll. The hero throws the scroll into the hands of the interlocutor and then catches it with one hand. The man notes that, since the guy had given him this treasure, then he would be magnanimous and let it go today. Xia Tian decides to ask, because today he didn't come for him. The bald man replies that his mission today was to finish off Zhang Ru so he could let him go, but not her. Upon hearing this, the hero declares that he will give him a chance if he convinces him not to kill in 3. Maybe the guy will let him go. The bald man again notices that this is stupid, because one of them is the same person. The other person is clearly not enough to kill him. Xia Tian rushes off, saying that the first one is. The sentence is not what he wants to hear. He finds himself next to the killer, knocks him out of his mind. He grabs the gun and lifts it by the throat off the floor with one hand. The man claims that he can tell you more about his father, but this offer is not accepted. Wrong. Then the bald man claims to tell him something important. There are 8 scrolls in total. The brunette also notes that this is not one of the 3 sentences that he wanted to hear, so it has run out of attempts. The guy thinks about it, realizing that killing him here is not the best idea. So he decides to leave it to the police. He delivers a powerful blow to the neck of the quicksand member, Peskov. The man loses consciousness, and the hero also notes that the interlocutor is very stupid, because he has enough. It was said that he would let Zhang Ru go, and he would let him go. The door to the room opens. Hostess enters the room, asking if Xia Tian is okay. The latter assures that it is in full operation. Then he clarifies that if he can't beat one guy, then how can he defend himself? Her and Tian Tian. In the next instant, Zhang Ru hugs him, claiming that he scared her to death. The guy strokes the beauty on the head, asking not to be afraid. He exhales heavily, asking her to get dressed. They'll have friends at home soon. The girl answers she knows, so she goes to boil water and prepare tea for your guests. She brushes the back of her hand away from the tears in her eyes, asks if Xia Tian will always protect her. The guy gives a positive answer, emphasizing that he wouldn't let anything happen to her or Tian Tian. Zhang Ru gives a very short answer. Her eyes are moist again, and her cheeks are turning scarlet. The shade. She quickly leaves the room, slamming the door behind her. The hero also takes out the phone from the pocket, then decides it's time to call someone who can help him. He'll come and clean up the place. Xia Tian and Zhang Ru are waiting for guests with open doors. They turn out to be brother Zui, Little Fairy. The hero greets them, realizing that they have come a long way. The hostess calls them. Go ahead and sit in the living room. At this time, the old man notes that the boy whose brothers Yang recommended a really good candidate for a master of martial arts. The hero says that brother Zhu has a high opinion of him, so he should try harder. Little Fei confesses that he knows it himself. Xia Tian leads the guests to the room where the captured person is located. He tells them that this man is a killer from the Quicksand organization, so he asks them to take him to police station and leave a corresponding note. While the young student is evaluating the ropes that bound the killer, Master Zhu simply asked not to worry about it, assuring that take care of this problem. After that, the elderly person reminds that after some time there will be competitions at Leolin Villa, which will determine whether he can take property or not. The hero asks you to entrust it to him. The guests leave the house, saying goodbye to the brunette. The same one opens the scroll that was ready to give away to the bald assailant for information about his father. He becomes interested in what will happen if collect all 8 scrolls together. At this time, the hostess of the house appears in the doorway. The hero asks how Tian Tian is feeling, and if she was afraid. The girl replies that the child is fast asleep and has not even woken up. She approaches the guy, admitting that she is glad that he is here today because she feels safe when he's around. Zhang Ru snuggles up to the young man, telling him that it was very hard for her to be alone all these years, and that only now does she feel like she has a home and someone to count on. Rely on it. The hero lifts her head by the chin, while she thanks him for all that she has done. He did. Xia Tian, on the other hand, covers her lips with his own in a neat but confident motion, forcing a kiss. The beauty doesn't break out or resist, supporting his actions. The next morning, they leave at the company building. Anyone who sees them will recognize Zheng Ru. However, they start to wonder who the guy next to her is. Some suggest that it is her personal security guard, based on the clothes. The hero smiles, mentally noting that after one night he has already broken through to the second. The level of heavenly awakening. He didn't expect it to have such an effect. The couple go up to the desired floor in the building, then enter the meeting room, where there is an empty seat in the second floor. At the head of the table, and 8 other people, 4 on each side, are clearly waiting for the girl to arrive. One of the rich men starts talking. He asks who it is behind Ms. Tseng, and then, without answering, after giving the girl a chance to respond, he emphasizes that it is unacceptable to bring a boy with a snow-white face at the company's shareholders' meeting. The beauty responds very harshly, saying that if he's a boy with a snow-white face, the other person won't even be able to reach him. His toes. This behavior is not liked by the man, but another one gets into the conversation. A man of about 50 years of age. He notes that they are conducting an internal investigation of company meeting, so who's going to be responsible if something happens when they enter? An outsider. Zheng Ru decides to make it clear that Xia Tian is her man, so it's highly likely that Xia Tian is the one who is being held by her. It's silly to ask about who will be responsible if something goes wrong. The old men explode, calling the beauty too shameless for her to speak so easily. All these things. The girl becomes serious. Her expression is one of pent-up anger and rage. Just for form's sake, she decides to ask if they faked the car accident, abduction and attempted murder. Of course, the old people deny everything, starting to demand evidence for unsubstantiated charges. Zheng Ru doesn't understand how they even dare deny your actions. She even suspects that she's not communicating with anyone at all. By men. After that, she throws the folder she brought with her on the table. She takes out a few sheets of paper, handing them out to everyone in the room so that they can read them. We were convinced of the truth of her words. The members of the joint stock company start reading the papers. The room falls silent. Zheng Ru also reports that this is the very evidence which they wanted to see. Those caught red-handed start muttering to themselves, rubbing your eyes and feeling as uncomfortable as possible. Old people are blown up from their seats. One shouts that all this is slander, and the other supports a friend, shouting that all this is a lie and falsifications. One of the bravest scoundrels declares that they want to remove the girl from the post, because she's no longer qualified to be the CEO of Tseng Group. The second one is the same, notices that she has to sell them her shares at a low price. Krasavitsa notes that in the end, their ultimate goal was revealed, to displace her, so she encourages them to speak out the opinion of other shareholders on this issue, because it is going to use evidence to put them in jail and then split their shares with the rest of us talented specialists. The members of the joint stock company begin to exchange glances between each other. By yourself, without rushing to express your opinion. Xia Tian smiles, realizing that Zheng Ru has chosen a very good strategy, because this is the decision more profitable for everyone. At this point, one of the accused states that all this is the work of this person. Boys. He points his finger at the hero, claiming that this boy with a snow white. He's trying to slander them to spite the Zheng family. The girl stands up for the guy, noticing that it was none of his business. The hero begins to slowly approach the one who so likes to talk in vain. Xia Tian releases her sinister aura and looks directly into the eyes of the frightened rich man. Asks Wu Zhengru if it's true that if they get rid of these 5 old men, they won't be able to do it again. There will be no problems. The girl encourages the guy to calm down and not be impulsive, because 2 more days before these old men are finished. The hero says that 2 days is a good time to work. Not much, of course, but unlike him, the quicksand killers won't wait. Get rich, K. When the hero approaches, he nervously asks what he is going to do. The guy prescribes savory bream for a man. He rubs his red, swollen cheek, still not believing what the other person is saying. Hit him. Xia Tian notices that he has never heard such a strange request before, so that someone asks to get hit. He begins to prescribe a series of slaps to the arrogant rich man while in the hall. It doesn't include another person. He reports that manager Wang asked him to bring materials. The girl is a little surprised that she forgot some materials. She asks for a subordinate. Bring them to her. The man calmly moves to the beauty while the rest of the members, the joint stock community, is sorting through the papers given to Zheng Ru. the hero notices the elderly man's gaze, a scoundrel directed at the secretary. The guy's gaze catches on the stranger's shoes, and then he's gone. Orders him to stop. Zietian asks if all the employees of their company go to work in leather military boots. There is a momentary lull, after which the secretary pulls out a knife from under a stack of papers, snapping in the direction of the CEO of the company, realizing that he was discovered. The guy curses under his breath, breaking into an intercept. The knife is already moving towards the girl's torso, aimed at the heart. The hero manages to strike with the back of his hand, knocking out cold steel from the hands of a killer. This affects the latter, but he quickly comes to his senses, and with a few jumps, he breaks the distance. The opposite side admits that the hero is quite fast, however, pulling out a gun and pointing his muzzle at the guy covering the girl with his body, the killer asks if he is faster. Bullets. After that, Zietian unclenches his fist, asking if these are the bullets in question. And really he has a handful of bullets in his hand. This confuses the killer, who is clearly not ready for something like that. The hero throws bullets to the floor, taking off in the direction of the enemy. He uses Immortals, steps of wandering clouds to boost your speed. Then get ready to use sharp fingers to quickly disable your opponent. Zietian turns out to be one of those old men who just a couple of minutes ago were yelling about what everyone was doing. Evidence is falsification. He doesn't kill it by taking a step back. The killer falls on land. It is not known whether he died or simply lost consciousness. The hero also specifies whether he needs to say who hired this killer. Stretching his neck and releasing all his aura, the guy declares that he was giving them one last chance to save their lives. He wants them to give up their shares, and then they gave up. Frightened members of the joint stock company agree to these terms. The next moment, a servant of the law enters the meeting room, asking who called the police. One of the old men admits that it was he who called the police because the man had a gun. After hearing this, the police officer decides to find out who is responsible for this. Seng-Ru. She comes forward, saying that she is the one who is responsible. The servant of the law claims that she will go with him because he needs to take a statement from her. The guy still decides to find out how about this killer, or the cop doesn't care. Last, he replies that he called his colleagues, so they'll be here soon with reinforcements, and all they have to do is wait here to investigate. The hero assumes that this is the procedure. Seng-Ru moves along with the young man, noting that this is the back entrance to the office. He also says that his car is parked there, so she should follow him. Seng-Ru doesn't say anything to that. At this time, Zietian tied up all the criminals with a rope too. They didn't even think about running away. The doors to the assembly hall open, and a beautiful girl in a police uniform orders no one to move. The pupils of the hero and the girl narrow, because it happens again, a diabolical coincidence. This girl turns out to be Bingbing. Past, he says that she, as a police officer, should have come. The hero decides to find out, so she in. There is the very reinforcement that her colleague mentioned. Bingbing doesn't understand what they are talking about or what kind of reinforcements they are, since they are the first to arrive. Zietian nervously asks who that guy is back then. At this time, the police officer asks for Tsen. Try to get into the van of a police car. The girl does not want to get into the van, because this car is intended for criminals, so she stresses that she is going to cooperate with the investigation, so she cannot travel to such a car. Then the man repeats his demands more insistently. The CEO steps back, starting to get suspicious and asking who the hell he is. Take this one. At this time, the hero rushes through the corridors, reporting that that policeman was. It's not real. Bingbing follows him, still not quite sure what he's talking about. Before, the hero is a picture where a police officer tries to drag Seng-Ru into a van, and the last one resists. The guy takes off from his seat at top speed, because with the help of his vision, he sees that this is a real ambush. The sniper fires a shot, but Zietian manages to pull it out. A friend from being shot. The bullet hits the fake cop's arm. Bingbing calls for run for cover because she also noticed the sniper's actions. Zietian reports that the trajectory trace has disappeared, which means that the sniper is gone. Bingbing doesn't understand. Oh, what trajectory does the guy say? And the guy just nervously replies that nothing. Hero embraces Seng-Ru, trying to calm her down. In his mind's eye, he notices that Quicksand's activities haven't stopped, and now they have sent 2 assassins, which means that the danger for Seng-Ru is not over yet. Officer, the police officer, holding a fake carrier of shoulder straps, looks with some envy at the girl in black, hugging a guy. In the morning at school on the basketball court, two teams faced off in a confrontation. Hero easily circles all members of the opposing team and then sends the ball to the basket if necessary, using the jump button. Three girls support him. One of them is Zheng Ru, the second is a cousin, and the third is a friend, presumably Hot Pepper, who on the advice of the master changed his makeup. Xia Tian. He sighs heavily because he will have to keep an eye on Zhenru until he deals with the murderers. At this point, the hero's sharp gaze clings to the figure in the stands, which stands out from the background. The rest of them, little wife, seeing that the hero begins to move from the platform, asks what. He gets up that the game with their team is not over yet. Top scorer of the enemy team. He also wants to know what happened, if he broke his leg when he jumped so high, and if he wants to, he will withdraw from the competition. Xia Tian ignores all these questions, noticing that the unknown person is starting to run away. He snaps out of his seat. Your place, starting the pursuit. He is on the other side of the bleachers in one jump, then hits the entire enemy team. The cousin does not understand why the relative is so sudden. Has left. Hot Pepper admits that she herself is not aware of what is happening. Only Zhenru mentally asks the guy to be careful. Unknown leads the hero into the dark world, a forest where there are practically no witnesses. Only then does he turn around to take the fight. The guy is amazed that the hero really dares to follow him, even without fear of an ambush. Xia Tian decides to ask if Quicksand is a charitable organization, and why is he pursuing Zhenru even though his employers are in jail. The killer reports that the target is not Zhenru, but just the same hero. This surprises the latter a little. Unknown. He pulls out a knife, saying that he is the man's son and got in their way, so he must die. With these words, the killer snaps at the guy, and he pulls out a similar dagger from behind his back. And the weapons collide, after which the opposite side recognizes the green cloud dagger. Xia Tian notices that it is the same dagger as his, and then he asks the opponent to guess what happened to the last guy who had one. After a sharp collision and a loud, there's a screeching sound, and the two guys break the distance, only to break into battle again. The killer notices that the enemy is just as much of a problem as his father, so they both deserve it. Death. Xia Tian decides to ask if the opponent has anything to do with his father's death. That one doesn't, answers the question posed, saying that the guy was very good at hiding, and he thought that he was the one. An ordinary guy, so I didn't expect him to reach the early stage of Hua level. Along with words, the assassin sheaths the dagger. The hero is mentally trying to figure out what the early stage of the Huang level is. It quickly comes to the conclusion is that this is how martial arts are classified by level. The opponent takes it out of his pocket, multiple discs, noting that it will become a big problem over time, so it should end it today. Several projectiles are sent towards Xia Tian. The latter tries to understand that it is flying at him, but then he notices that the throwing stones are flying at him. The shells are connected by a fishing line. Xia Tian bends down in the area of her back, avoiding being hit by a dangerous attack, which in the next moments later, he cuts down two thick trees. The guy purses his lip, marveling at the killer's strength level. The other side doesn't understand how the hero was able to avoid his attack, because he is the enemy's enemy. Should only be at the early stage of Huang level. Xia Tian ignores this question, wanting to know how his father died. He's even willing to let the enemy live if they share this information. The assassin looks around without noticing the hero's movements. He finally realizes what he's got. Not an early stage Huang level. When Xia Tian puts something sharp to his throat, the killer nervously asks how he was able to reach the late stage of the Huang level. On the ground lies the defeated killer, and above him rises the hero, from the words of which it becomes clear that no one told him about his father. The guy turns around and gets ready, knowing that it doesn't matter, because sooner or later he will find out the truth. In the afternoon, after school, Xia Tian goes to practice with the master. 3 streams flow into it. Then the mentor informs you that today is his last day of practice with him, because tomorrow he will be able to work with you. He will be leaving Zhanghai City, so he warns the disciple to be very careful with Quicksand. The hero bows his head in respect and thanks the master for his teachings these days, adding that will always take into account his instructions. Xia Tian makes a mental note that he doesn't know when he'll be back. He will see it again, but he hopes that this day will come soon. When the hero raises head, then the master is no longer in place. The guy sits in the back seat of the car. The cousin decides to find out who Xia Tian was chasing in the past. Last time, he tells a story that he was mistaken, thinking that this is an old friend. But then, I found out that this is not the case. At that moment, the brunette's phone starts ringing and he picks it up. On another wire turns out to be Hot Pepper, who claims that she ran away from home because she wanted to learn martial arts from him, but her family wouldn't let her. The hero pretends that he does not understand what the classmate is talking about and then resets the call. A girl with red hair under a square, who is driving, decides to find out who he is. Called. The guy says nothing, but it was just a stalker. The girl chuckles, claiming that she thought it was the girl he had seduced again. The red-haired one. She notes that she sees him with a new girlfriend every day, so it's important for her to know if the guy is really Kingsu doesn't respect her. The latter stands up for the hero, telling her sister Wen that Zietian, this is her cousin, and at the event, he just pretended to be her boyfriend. The hero admits that sometimes he thinks she's just as annoying as the other stalker, so he doesn't know what to do. Suggests that they may be related. These words make Sister Wen angry, and cousin asks, view the driver's view of the road. At this time, Hot Pepper tries to understand how the master dared to hang up. She's trying to. I call him again, but he hears only a short beep. She doesn't know what to do now, for she has quarreled with her family, and she has no money with her, and now the master does not want to see her. Hot Pepper decides why she shouldn't try to make money. It goes along the road and sees a passing car, so she decides to pull off something diabolical. She rushes under the wheels, but Sister Wen manages to hit the brakes in time. All three of them get out of the car. My cousin immediately tries to understand what happened. When they approach the girl lying on the side of the road. Then she gets on her knees, starting to complain of pain in her back, arms, legs, and spine. This terrible acting game puts all three of them in a stupor. The hero is the same, emphasizes that everything is normal. It's then that Hot Pepper recognizes one of the people as his master. After that, she hears her name and realizes that her sister is also here. Then is enough. Hot Pepper behind the ear with his hand, saying that it is very brazen to deceive people so that when they got home, she would teach her how to behave. Huo Lejiao asks to stop, saying that she's in pain. Zietian can't believe he's hit the nail on the head. My cousin marvels at the way she looks. Her friend has a family. The car drives away and the two sisters leave the hero and his cousin. The hero notices that it's over and Sister Ho has left to do household chores, after which the guy clarifies that she's going to do it when she asks him out. Kingsu claims to be Sister Wen. Offered to have dinner because two girls want to see him after watching it. A basketball game. Zietian wants to find out who they are, but a voice is heard from behind, saying, greets them. A couple of beauties are approaching their relatives. One is dressed in black clothes. The first one emphasizes her refined figure, while the second one is wearing loose clothes, tied up, belt around the waist. The second representative of the fair sex notes what they saw, that he got out of the car and decided to approach him. This girl is clinging to the hero's arm, claiming that he was a basketball god and she was a fan. Zietian is a little surprised that he now has fans, while the hero is trying recover from an unexpected revelation. The second girl asks what happened to Miss Ho. They had just taken to the streets, so they didn't have time to figure out what had happened. My cousin replies that Sister Wen just left. At this time, the fan tells that she heard that he can guess what kind of underwear people are wearing. She asks him to guess her underwear. The guy smiles, noting that she asked for it herself. It uses its own unique name, Vision, and can't believe his eyes. Cousin asks what Zietian is doing. The hero is the same, mentally notes that he can't see through their clothes. It assumes that this is some kind of a disguise that it encounters for the first time, so it clarifies if they are masked. Kingsu grabs the guy's shoulder, saying that it's not polite to tell the girl what she was doing. Plastic surgery. The hero explains that he did not mean plastic surgery, but that they wear camouflage clothing. The fan admits that this is so, justifying his disguise by the fact that she is ugly, and she does not have a very good figure, so she had to put on such disguise clothes. Then she notes that the older brother is an idol, and she offers him to be her boyfriend. Her friend asks her to stop it. Same guy. Realizing that everything is not as simple as she says, she tries to bring the secretive girl to the surface. Water, clarifying why he should be her boyfriend if she wasn't pretty. Zietian pulls her cousin towards her, saying that the girl should have a figure at her level. The interlocutor does not understand who told him that she has a bad body. She's even ready to take off her own clothes and show it to him. The guy agrees, offering to take off his clothes right away. Linger is coming. She goes to the brunette, puts her hands on his torso and says that there are too many people here, so she takes a picture in somewhere else. At this moment, Kingsu grabs the relative's wrist and starts pulling him along in the other direction. Zietian doesn't understand why they're leaving.